Hello, everybody. We have a Thursday night chat with our good friend, this handsome fellow over here. Not me, this guy, Anthony Crooks, creator of Glory Days Games, Glory Days Boxing, and soon Glory Days College Football. Happy to have you on, Anthony. How's everything going? Give us
Good
an
to be
update, my
here.
friend.
I'm doing good, buddy. Good to talk to you as always. Hope you're doing well too.
I am, thank you. So, first thing I'd like to ask you, how close are you? Because you've been working on the college football. You're a big college football fan. I've seen some prototypes of the game. You've done videos of the game on your channel, which is Bleacher Bums Gaming. And before we actually, Glory Days Boxing, great card and dice game. Bring it to a tabletop near you. One of the best, if not the, in my opinion, the best boxing simulation game, period. And I like all my boxing games, but Glory Days Boxing is the best. Can be purchased at sidelinestrategies.com. Link provided on the page and in the chat. Also, check out Glory Days Games Facebook page, which used to be Glory Days Boxing, but because Anthony is expanding his game universe, it's Glory Days Games. So how close are you with the college football, my friend?
For the base game, over about 3/4 of the way done rating the all-time great team set, which 30 all-time great teams come with a base game. And then I will be starting on season, starting with the 2021 season. And when I do the seasons, the base game, again, just 30 teams, but the seasons will actually be complete seasons. I know some games offer you 30, whatever, top 25 teams, but
so that's about 130 teams.
130 teams will be in the 2021.
That's awesome.
It's an undertaking, but we'll start
God
on
bless
that.
You, my friend.
Yeah, we'll have that done at some point during this upcoming college football season. So, and then start on 2022 as soon as that season ends.
I'm very excited about the college football game, especially the base game, only because I like great team sets, and I think it's, and there's different versions, or not versions, different ways you can play. Correct?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So base version will be a hybrid, and it's basically just designed to take part of the drive and simulate the first half of the drive, either to the point you have to kick or get into plus territory, then you jump into play-by-play mode. And, the purpose there was to create a good feel for the college game and reduce some of the time it takes to play. Most play-by-play football games are easy, 90 minutes or more.
Yeah, it's true. You can't get around it.
Yeah. And so with the hybrid version, you can get a game out of the way in 50 to 60 minutes, maybe 45 if there's a lot of defense. And you can also do a full play-by-play, which again would run you 90 minutes, maybe a little more. And then
more detailed.
Yeah. If you want that specific play-by-play detail. And the third iteration is a quick play mode where basically the drive is split into two halves. You do the first half of the drive like you do in hybrid.
Yep.
And then if the drive is successful to that point, you do a second simulation for the second part of the drive into plus territory, basically. And there'll also be an Excel helper with both the hybrid and the quick play versions, where you can assign stats to individual. You can get as deep as you want. You can either assign stats team, the team stats rushing and passing, including completions, attempts, and even assign them to individual players if you want to go that far.
So the Excel helper will come with the game.
Yes. Yeah. That will be emailed to everyone who orders the game.
Awesome. And that's for the quicker play versions.
Yeah, and you can use it for play-by-play too. It's going to have 3 tabs on there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it'll have a play-by-play tab, a simulated drive tab, and then a third tab that I call the stat helper, where you assign the accumulated quick play stats.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome to hear. Let's say hello to some people we have already in the chat. Bears Den, hope all is well. He says hello again, everybody. And yet James Caan passed away. That's very sad news.
And we've got to talk about Brian's song at some point.
Absolutely. Philip Reynolds, how you doing?
Phil.
Dwayne Martz.
Hey, Dwayne.
Robbie Wartburg. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, the James Caan, Teresa told me, I didn't even know. She goes, did you hear James Caan passed away? I was like, oh, wow. I mean, another iconic actor is gone. And he was in one of the most recognizable sports movies of his day, Brian's Song, where he played Brian Piccolo. Gale Sayers was played by
Billy D.
Williams. That's right. I had a brain fart. Thank God Anthony's here. And no, that was a sad, even the remake, just a sad movie that the Brian Piccolo, but people don't understand. Brian Piccolo went to Wake Forest. Brian Piccolo was a top-notch college running back who they just said, well, he's not that good. And he really didn't get, he was a late-round draft pick. But look up his stats. His senior year, he was a top-notch college running back. And he got cancer. That's just a great... I'm trying to think, who played Papa Bear?
I want to say Jack. Oh shit! I can't think of his name.
I know who I think you're
know
right.
what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I just can't think of it. We're gonna have to look that up. Hello to Steve Tower.
What's up, Steve?
Good to see Steve Tower after further reviews. He's going on vacation. Have a good vacay. Oh God,
I'm on it right now, Al.
I can see the guy who played George House.
Jack Warden.
Jack Warden.
Jack Warden.
Yeah, you were right. I knew when you said Jack, I was like, thank you. Good
he
movie.
Was spot on with that. Great casting. Both those guys were pretty young then. Caan, of course, went on. I did Godfather the next year, right?
Yep. Yeah, because that was before the Godfather. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. That was a made-for-TV movie, Brian.
It was. It was one of those.
When they used to do that.
Yeah, made for TV, ABC, I think it was on. But I remember when I was 9 and I was talking to my buddy today. It's like, it's the first movie I watched where I knew I was kind of sensitive because like 2 or 3 times by the end of that, I was crying like a little kid who had his popsicle kicked out of his hand.
That was a sad.
It was, and it's still. I'll probably watch it tonight again. It still chokes me up. It's like Field of Dreams to me.
Yeah,
I can't. I still can't watch that without crying.
It's and even the remake, which I forgot what year they did it, was very well done. A little more graphic with when it came to like this, when they talked about the surgeries and stuff. They kind of not showed it, but there was a little more graphicness to it. That was a good movie. But the James Caan, just an iconic actor. I mean. The Godfather, iconic role, hot-headed Sonny Corleone. And he was in many other movies.
Yeah, he was another good sports movie, The Program. He played the coach.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And, of course, Misery is a pretty iconic role.
Oh, my God, Misery. We get to Ed O'Brinovich of the Bears defensive end was in Brian's Song. I think even...
They had a few Bears players.
I think even Dick Butkus was in it.
Dick Butkus was.
Because that was the classic. He was supposed to block Butkus, and they go, why? I was it the coach? Was it Papa Bear goes, and he said to the person, and I think it was to one of the coaches, would you have blocked Butkus on that? And he went, no. I go, okay. He goes,
that's he was such a versatile actor too, and he just really captured.
Well, he showed he had his comedic side. He was in Elf. He was in A Bridge Too Far. I'm trying to think. He was in a ton of movies. I'm going to forget a lot of them, but again, The Godfather.
A ton. Con Cannon, their quarterback, was in the movie. So yeah, they had a few.
They had a few Chicago Bears in that movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
but Misery,
Mike Ditka was in it.
Yeah, no, Mike Dick. Okay, I forgot, but I'm pretty sure Dick Butkus was in it too.
Dick Butkus was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mickey Blue Eyes was a fun
Blue Eyes.
movie. That was another good. I was with Hugh Grant. El Dorado, the remake of Rio Bravo. That's right. He had the mini little shotgun because he couldn't shoot. That was a good one.
Rollerball.
Yeah, Rollerball
Good
from the
movie.
70s. Oh yeah, I remember that was like Murder Roller Derby.
Yeah, that'd make a
remember
great
that.
game, by the way.
Yeah,
Glory Days Rollerball.
yep. Wow, I forgot about that one. He was just and Misery had one of the best when he killed Kathy Bates with the award. You sick, twisted. The classic. This is gonna hurt you more than you, and he's like, no, it's not. Please don't. Oh my God. She hit the man's ankles with a sledgehammer. I'm cringing now. But God rest your soul. God rest his soul. And
hey, but 82 years old, full life. Yeah.
Yep.
So
it's just every time, whether it's an athlete or somebody or anybody that you've watched throughout your years, you just feel a little bit older. I don't know. I do. Todd B mentions Rollerball. Great idea. Yeah, Rollerball. That was like the game. They remade that too. I don't know if they called it Rollerball, Death Ball, or something. Death Game.
Yeah, I don't think the remake was close to the original.
No. Anyway, but James Caan, yes, was in one of the most iconic sports movies.
Let me let Daisy out real quick.
Daisy wants out. She's heard enough of me.
She wants out.
So how's everyone doing? Very happy to see everyone. We're going to talk with Anthony for a while. Again, Glory Days, college football coming out soon. Base game. What are the base teams, the great teams in Glory Days football? College football.
You want me to give you the whole list?
Absolutely. We have nothing but time.
Nothing but time. All right, here we go.
Did Army make it?
Yeah. Now, and I want to let you know too how I pick these teams.
Yeah.
So this isn't just arbitrary. I looked at like 4 collective sites rating the greatest college football teams of all time, and I took an aggregate rating, used that to make selections, and with the also caveat that no team could be represented more than twice.
I like that.
So there's some actual, and surprising to me, some notable exceptions. Neither 66 Notre Dame or Michigan State made that aggregate list, which I expected both of them to be there. But so in no particular order, 1980 Georgia.
Yep.
And if you want to talk about any individual team, just stop me. 1998 Tennessee.
Yep.
2010 Auburn. 1981 Clemson. 1956 Oklahoma, one of Bud Wilkinson's powerhouses.
Bud Wilkerson. Yeah.
68 Ohio State, where Woody Hayes was at his peak. 1987 Miami. 76 Pitt with Tony Dorsett. 94 Penn State. 69 Texas with their wishbone offense. 59 Syracuse with Ernie Davis,
That's another sad story.
Yeah,
Ernie Davis,
another good football, and he actually was not their leading ball carrier on that team, believe it or not. 2013 Florida State, 97 Michigan, 99 Florida State, 2005 Texas with Vince Young. That was a great offensive team.
Yeah.
2019 LSU with your boy Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
79 Bama, 54 Ohio State.
79 Bama. That's like the Yankees. Penn State got stopped on the goal line. I think they gave the ball to Gooman 3 times.
And the way it was. They were a great defensive team. They're probably
they beat Penn State 14-7. I think.
Yeah.
I cried as a kid watching that game. Penn State had the ball on the 2-yard line. Gooman was a running back. Oh, the Chicago Bear. No, was he a running? He had to be then. Fullback, Suey.
Oh, Suey, Matt Suey.
I think Suey was on that team too. I think.
Yeah.
But Alabama stuffed them 4 times down on the goal line. Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, they have, and they do have, and the way I rated these teams, I rated them, they were really designed to play against each other, not season sets, because I rated them in a neutralized format. Because obviously 45 Army is not going to come in and beat 2010 Auburn in any world ever, right? But in a neutralized setting, they'll have a shot. So going on 54 Ohio State, 73 Notre Dame, 2004 USC with Bush and Leinart,
Yep.
2001 Miami, 2018 Clemson, 74 Oklahoma, one of Barry Switzer's best teams.
Yep.
72 USC with the Juice, 71 Nebraska.
No, 72 is with
oh no, it's you're
Sam
right.
Van Cunningham.
And Pat Hayden.
Yep.
71 Nebraska, 1945 Army with Doc Blanchard.
Inside and outside.
Mr. Inside Outside, 88 Notre Dame, 91 Washington, and 94 Nebraska with
awesome.
Brooks Behringer.
I thank you very much. I think I'm happy the Army team made it. And I get it. If they played, it's a different style, but it's an iconic team. Yeah. Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside. Blanchard and Davis. If you know anything about football and about the history of college football, Mr. Inside, Mr. Outside, Blanchard and Davis, that's going to be fun for me. I know exactly the first game I'm playing. Army, 79 Alabama. I'm getting my revenge.
And Todd B makes a great point. So as I mentioned them, it has to be the copyright Ohio State Buckeyes.
The copyright. But I now I know you're doing season sets after this. Will there be possibly another mixed set of great teams, we'll say, possibly, or no?
What I decided to do there is, and one nice thing is in this game with the way the cards are designed, and this is the final design of the card.
Yeah, they're really nice.
A little more colorful.
Let me. I want to put you. Hold on. Let me see if I can just. Can I do that? Solo. I think that's just me. Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that either. I was trying to see if I could get you, but yeah, they're nice. They're everything's on the one. It's very similar to Glory Days box, and that everything's pretty much coming off the card, right?
Yeah, this is what you'll get. You'll have. Geez, oh.
I wish I knew how to.
That is
sharp. I love
it. The drive chart for the quick
Yep.
play drives and special teams and whatnot. The game field. This has master special teams results on it and penalties. And then on some of those results, you'll go to the team-specific special teams results. And that's basically it. There's also an event chart, which I don't have printed, and the rule book and dice. So, yeah. So pretty small footprint. And, again, most of the stuff here, the teams have team-specific special teams ratings on returns.
Now, that's one whole team right there, right? That whole card.
One whole team. Yep,
LSU, right? Is that LSU? I can't.
Yeah.
Okay. So just go through what's on that. So you have offense, defense.
So the top part will be the for the quick play. These top two.
Cool.
Backwards. This is for the simulated portion in hybrid and quick play. And then if you're playing full quick play, you jump to the next two for the second half of the drive. And then play-by-play defense, offense ratings on the other side. This is your play caller here. Quick play touchdown tendencies, so you can assign touchdowns based on percentages that actually happened. And then in the play-by-play mode, these are where your individual results come off of. The color coding, the red are potential fumbles, purple potential interceptions, blue potential sacks, and the gold potential big plays, and the silver are stuff results on the defense.
Awesome.
And then here, doing play-by-play. These numbers, the numbers on the right, the 10, 14, etc.
Yep.
Assign the ball carrier based on a 1d20 roll. The yardage adjustment, if you roll in this neutral column here, which is right there.
Yep.
Whatever the result is, you will add or subtract the yardage there to give a more realistic individual back performance. And then same for the receivers here. Quarterback percentages down here, that's used in quick play and hybrid. And then the alpha results here, the C, I, etc. That is if you use hybrid or quick play to assign those carriers to individual contributors based on the percentages they actually touch the ball.
Again, if you're just joining us, there's 3 different ways this game can be played, and that's quick play, medium quick play, we'll say, and then a full out version. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome. Now you have it that playing solo, you're not calling a defense because it's built in, correct? We talked.
Yeah, I want to explain my philosophy there.
Yes. No, but I agree with it.
It comes, I'm 30. It'll be my 35th year coaching high school football. So it comes from a coaching background. In a realistic game, if I'm a defensive coordinator and it's 3rd and 10, I'm not going to call a run defense or randomly roll a run defense. I'm going to be playing something for the pass coverage, or we'll maybe bring a little pressure. And so I calculate that into the base game so that you're not making decisions or guesses based on that. It's considered baked into the game. Basically.
Yeah, because that's the toughest thing with a solo play. When I fooled around with my Fran Tarkenton game, I just basically set up the defensive cards and I'd roll a dice, right? And whatever it was, and you're sitting there when and I made it so a base defense came up more than it should because at least that's plausible. But every once in a while, I'd be like, wow, well, they're just they got caught with their pants down.
And you know what? This is going to be set up based on, it's driven by team ratings, not tendencies and guessing.
Right. Because
the one area where that will come into play, if you'll see on the play-by-play part.
Yep.
So you see the down and distance. So in a 3rd and 1 to 2,
yep.
If you roll a run, the defense will be selling out against the run in that scenario. So they'll get an advantage, which is explained in the rule book. And same thing in 3rd and 6+. They're expecting a long pass. So if that comes up on the roll, they'll get an advantage there based on, again.
Right. I mean, because like you said, the defense, the defensive coaches are not stupid. I mean, yeah, once in a while, a draw will beat them, a screen or a short quick hitter, but that's all encompassed in the game. And again, if you didn't hear Anthony correctly, over 30 years of coaching high school, Anthony has the thought process of a coach. And I think that's great because I think one of the hardest things for a football game is a solo game. I mean, there's plenty of games out there, but they're like highlight, not all of them, but some of them are like highlight kind of versions. This game that you're creating, again, 3 different ways of playing it. Me personally, once I get it down, I offline, and maybe I'll probably even do it online. I like to play the long, me playing as one team, or you're playing as both teams actually, because you're calling the offense, or now can you call your own offense, or is it the dice rolling that is going to call your offense?
You can do either or,
Excellent. So
sure.
I could technically sort of play against another team by letting the dice call the offense for the other team and me call it for, say, the Army, like I could call Army's offense.
Yeah, and an example there is you could call, the offense, and obviously you're going to have a little bit of an advantage there, but to balance that up, you can still roll the dice, one of the 10-sided dice. And if the roll, the defensive roll matches what you actually call, you could give the defense an advantage there too.
Oh yeah, I would play it. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Unless I'm playing Alabama and I'm on the goal line, I'm punching it in. I don't care.
Yeah. And like the boxing, I have a lot of ambiguous rules to allow flexibility with the user. It's going to be the same thing here because I want, again, I want the user to play the way that they most enjoy. That's why there's 3 versions, and that's why there will be optional rules and flexibility, just like with boxing.
Well, the boxing game, outstanding. I've always said it, outstanding. My favorite card and dice game. Boxing, hands down, but it's the game I play the most, along with now Legends of Wrestling. It just, I like PC games. Don't get me wrong. And they're easier. I come home from work, cat, dogs, Wyatt, or anything, life in general. You sit down, you go, do I want to set this up or do I want to sit and play? Because I'm on vacation this week. I played Strat-o-matic card and dice for the first time in months. And again, it was a horrible game, but it was fun. I made up fun stories and I streamed it. But the point is, I forgot how much fun it is, Anthony, to sit there and write out your lineup, right? And roll the dice and interpret. That's the same thing with, I had not played, I tried to play a couple of games of Glory Days boxing and just stuff got in the way. And I finally, I did the Marciano and Sullivan fight, and I'm sitting there rolling this going, and I was like to myself, I started going really fast. I was like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy this. It's been a long time. I have an opportunity to sit here and enjoy this beautiful game, Glory Days boxing, roll the dice, think up the storyline in my head as it's going, and share it with people. And it was just so much fun. Such a beautiful game. And I think the football game is going to flow. If people want to know, there's videos on your channel of you testing the game.
And I do have to do some more, but yeah, and I've got some testing going on too with excuse me, outside people, and I got a file back with some of the all-time great teams the other day, and a lot of I only sent like a few of the teams, but 45 Army was one of them, and I think some pretty fun results came back based off that testing.
I think when you're playing teams from different era, you again, we're kind of biased going, oh, the teams nowadays would kick the snot out of the other teams. But let's put them on an even playing field. Like you said, a neutral playing field, sort of. Let's just assume that the older teams, guess what? They'd have the same training. The things that they were successful then with, they would probably still be successful now with. Probably. Not to the extent, because it's different, but I'm happy you let Army's in there because it's a fun team.
Well, I'll actually share the Army results if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd like to say hello to Dave Little. Todd B says, real question for Al is, how did you rate the kickers? Oh, God. I don't want to talk about kickers. 1945 Army will not have a good kicker. I'm positive about that, probably. But yeah, what was Army's result in the testing?
So he did a few test games with that, and I've done a bunch too. This was just a file I got back today from one of my testers. So 1999 Florida State beat 1945 Army 20-16. So good competitive game there.
Yep.
Army ran the ball. He played Army against 97 Michigan. And in that one, Michigan, that was one of the few blowouts. Michigan beat them 40-21. And
bad day for Army.
Huh?
Bad day for Army that day.
Yeah, that game, they actually was probably their worst rushing game because he kept
dice gods were not with them that day.
And then he played Army against 1976 Pittsburgh. So Army 0 for 2 so far in testing, but against 1976 Pitt, they pulled off a 27-20 win.
Nice.
And did he
have stats on Tony Dorsett or no? Or he just played?
He didn't do. He did the team stats there. So in that game,
I was just curious. What
Army ran for 133 yards. Pitt also ran for 133, And the big difference, Army had a 99-yard pass play, even though they only threw 7 times.
Wild. See, that's why you play the games. It's wild stuff.
And then the last Army game was against 1969 Texas, and that one.
That would have been a slobber knocker, in my opinion.
And that one actually
7-6.
They had trouble with Darrell Royals' wishbone. Texas prevailed 28-6 in that one.
Wow. I had 6 right, just not the I thought it was.
Not the 7. And Texas ran for 168 yards. Army ran for 228, but they had some turnovers. So that was a difference.
Well, that's cool. Thank you for sharing that. RJL Networks here. He's saying hello to everybody.
What's up, Robert? So yeah, like I said, there's a bunch of games, but so far very happy with the results for the all-time great team set. So I think we are set and ready to go with that.
So again, when the base game comes out, it comes with the all-time great team set, and you're getting 30 teams, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So you could break it up into 3 divisions of 10. You could run tournaments if you want. You could break it up however you want. And then the first season that you will do is 2021 college.
And I've been rating that. So
right.
Yeah, it'll have all 130 teams.
And again, if you just joined us, when Anthony does the 2021 season, as he just stated, all 130 teams. So I can even play as my horrific UMass Minutemen who stink. Why would I do that? Because I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, you're going to be in for a rough season with them.
Yeah, I don't think they could beat a top-notch.
Yes, Robert, your 2001 Canes are in it.
They're in the base set.
Yeah, they are in the base set.
But that's awesome. I look forward to it.
You know, the one challenge, and this might disappoint people. I'm not going to go too far back in rating historical seasons. I will do some, but part of the problem is prior to like 2000.
The stats are tough to find.
It's tough to get the stats. You know, I came up with a real semi-complex rating formula, and I need a lot of different stats. Right. Like I use FEI ratings and all that stuff. They just don't go back.
Because even College Football Reference, they do a great job, but the older, even in the 60s, you can't find, like it's tough to get certain stats.
No, they're very basic. And my main website for most of my stuff is cfbstats.com.
Yep.
And they're great. They have a lot of stuff. And then for some of the older seasons, I have to use footballreference.com and the football database. And, I've even gone on to school sites and dug up stats to try and get as much as I can. But
yeah, because you can. A lot of the colleges have some decent, but when going far back, it's tough.
And going back to 1945 Army, a lot of piecing together and guesswork.
Yeah, but I'm glad that. But again, the base set has 30 great teams. It's understandable that it's tough to do historical seasons farther back. And who knows, maybe down the line, like you'll do a few more possible sets of maybe not necessarily 30 teams, but another, 10 teams here, 10 teams there, if possible.
And, another thing like on seasons with, like 128 teams or whatever, an odd number that doesn't fill up all my.
What about
I'll put in Easter eggs?
Yeah, here's a thought process. Bowl game teams for certain older seasons that you could, because you're not doing, and again, it would just be the bowl games. So you could do a playoff if you wanted, like the mythical championship from 1966, say.
That's actually a very good idea.
You know what I'm saying?
And I'll do probably a lot of that stuff as freebies too, because one nice thing, the PDF and print sizes with these cards, which I think I started to mention, got sidetracked. They're the same size, so you can get PDF and print it out and put it on 110 card stock. It'll look exactly like it. So that's again, and if you don't know about Glory Days Boxing, first of all, the printed version is extremely price friendly.
the PDF of the game, and I recommend the printed, but the PDF's fine too, is even more price friendly to the consumer. So yeah, I don't know. I just thought of that because it is so difficult, but possibly with the bowl teams, you could, there weren't that many bowls back then. So it's just something, if it's feasible, if
So
someone
you're
wanted.
you're requesting 1901 Michigan Stanford?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
And yes,
66
Robert, 2019 LSU is in there also.
It's funny. Yes, they are there, Rob. The when you went through the great teams, there were some, like you said, 66 Notre Dame and 66 Michigan State didn't make it. Now, what I didn't know about that until I did, because I was fascinated by that game. I played it in a few different PC versions, right? So I'm like, and I never thought about it. I was like, well, how did Michigan State not go to the Rose Bowl? Because the Big Ten had an asinine rule that you could not send the same team to the Rose Bowl in 2 consecutive years for a while. That is the stupidest rule I've ever heard, costing Michigan State a national title. Because I went to go look at the Rose, because I just thought Michigan State must have went to the Rose Bowl, right? And I look it up and like, how did they not go to the Rose Bowl? And this is just something recent. I mean, like last year, because I just assumed they went to the Rose Bowl. And no, it was somebody else. And they had a rule. They didn't send 2 years in a row. Even though Michigan State won the conference, they wouldn't send the same team 2 years in a row to the Rose Bowl. I don't know how long that lasted. It was stupid.
That's all. I have a question for Mike too, non-related to this. Have they torn down my old workplace up there in Salt Lake City yet?
Where the restaurant was?
Yeah.
They tore it down?
They closed in a little over a year ago. They're going to tear it down for condos and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. Piece of my childhood gone.
Many a title bout match was played.
Many a title bout match played at Coachman's Restaurant at 2 in the morning.
Jeff Shelbourne, right?
He used to, he came in there and ate with Angelo.
I remember the story.
Trainer. Yeah, see, you remember my stories.
I was awesome.
Yeah. So it is gone now.
Yeah, Mike says, I believe so. Coachman's. Wow.
But yeah, so so that's kind of it on the football game, and then we'll grind away at seasons. Last part on the games, I have actually an NFL sevens game designed, 7-on-7, and that's going to be real easy to whip out some seasons with that.
So like an indoor football kind of NFL game.
It'll be like we do with high school tournaments where there's no lineman, it's just all passing. And that's going to be a PDF only game. It'll be super cheap, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. Quick game.
It's going to be high scoring and a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then Glory Days Boxing, the last 2 things for that. A fictional set will be out next. You're in that fictional set, Al.
Awesome.
And the Sandman Sarno. And one more set of real life fighters where I'll give everyone a chance to get fighters they like who are not in the game in there. And that will give us a total of 1,200.
Unbelievable how many fighters are in Glory Days Boxing at an extremely reasonable price.
Yeah, hopefully.
It's so much fun. Sometimes I sit there and just look at the cards. I do that with a lot of different games, but really Glory Days Boxing and the wrestling game now. I sit there, I'm like, I'm going to do this, and then I'm like looking at them all. I'm like, before I know it, 2 hours have gone by, and I'm sitting there going, and I'm just enjoying looking and reading at the cards, the stats, and I just think of all these wonderful matchups in my head, and then we play them eventually.
But yeah, and then pretty much the rest of the stuff for boxing will be freebie stuff. I'll release a ratings guide so people can rate their own fighters, and then kind of just move on to other stuff.
That's awesome. It's going to be Bears Den 007 says 1972 Big Ten got rid of that rule. It was an asinine rule. That's right up there with in 1972 the NFL had the hey, where did the undefeated Dolphins play the AFC Championship game? Let's see if everyone knows this. People say Miami. Wrong. Pittsburgh. They played in Pittsburgh. Because they altered. I don't even know why they came up with that system. Undefeated, you don't get a home playoff game. And I don't like Miami. I'm just saying.
No, I hated that 72 team too.
Yeah. I still can't. The only team I've beaten the 72 team with, I beat them twice. I beat them once in Strat PC football with the 58 Colts. 58 Colts, sorry. Johnny Unitas, Alan Amici, Lenny Moore. I couldn't complete a pass to save my life, but my God, did I run that ball. And again,
Amici,
when I played, huh? Oh, yeah. I just ran so many draws. I'm like, whatever. It was fun. That's why you play the game when something fun happens. But I'm going to be sad to see Glory Days boxing not come to an end. It's not. It's there. But I always enjoyed just really fun sets. Okay, let's not talk about that. Okay, stop it.
Well, and once I do get done with all that stuff, I'm going to start working a lot harder on procuring a programmer to bring it to PC, and and that'll be a format where it'll be easier to enter your own boxers besides.
Yeah, and again, I'm either way, it's a cool game. So I highly recommend if it does come out in PC. I will be purchasing it because it's just a quicker setup at times, and it'll be fun. So, and for all you Yankee fans, the Yankees won. Now they were coming back down to earth a little bit. They were a juggernaut, but you couldn't play that the whole way.
Well, they're doing at the plate what we thought they would do. They go 16 innings without a hit. And Pittsburgh beats them 2 days ago. Yesterday, they beat Pittsburgh 16-0. And but it's been their pitching that's carried them. Their starting pitching. Yeah, and that's starting to kind of level off now a little bit. So,
but they're playing at such a clip, So
I don't like it because Judge is playing so well. He's probably not going to be a Yankee next season.
See, listen.
I hope he is. They're saying
here's the thing. That's the only thing I dislike about modern sports with baseball. Yeah. There are people I want to see stay with teams. As much as I like Aaron, and I like Aaron Judge, one of my favorite players. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm a Red Sox fan. I think he enjoys the game. He understands how to relate to the fans. I've watched videos of him relating to the fans when he's just playing catch with a kid out in the bleachers. That's incredible. He gets it. I'd like to see him stay a Yankee because he's a Yankee.
He's like Jeter and Todd B. Yes, that's still. I'm actually still. I'm a habitual tweaker, and not in like the drug sense tweaker, but I've been continuing to tweak that. I actually have a format now that I think has the smoothest batter pitcher interaction yet. Nice. It's still on the back burner, but maybe I'll highlight that at some point later this summer for sure.
Nice. What new game from Anthony is coming out? Joined late, didn't see. College football, my friend. College football. And he's going to show you. Right now, the base game comes with 30 teams. He's already went through it. You just got to go back a bit if you want. So the base game comes with 30 all-time great teams. The first season coming out, 2021, not 30 teams, not 40 teams, 130 teams. Every team in major college football will be present in Anthony's college football game, which you can play 3 different ways. Fast, medium, like a hybrid of fast and the long version, and then the long version, which is really cool.
The one downside, I have to figure out a way to ship the individual team sets because these are such a unusual size card.
Could you possibly and I don't know if it's feasible. It half. So you have like offense, defense cards, maybe, or is it or quick, or because you have it in 3 different versions of how to play. Maybe, yeah, because that's I hear what I never thought of that.
Here's what's driving this design. It all comes down to price point.
Yeah.
So the more cuts I do, the
more it costs, and the more it's going to cost to the consumer.
So, what's up, Chris?
No, card and dice football.
Yeah, and actually on the football, I know it'll only be a cards and dice game, Chris. Getting a computer programmer is hard. I've been trying to get one for the boxing game for 2 years now, and have had a few stops and starts, and hopefully have something working now to get that done. So yeah, anything that comes out on the PC for the football game will definitely be quite a ways down the road, unfortunately.
Take my money, and
I'd be happy to, Matt. No.
Sports Time Machine. I'm starting to hate to see the position players pitch. It used to be fun to see that. Now I hate. I guess they've been doing a lot more, obviously. I guess in blowouts you're going to throw position players, but there's a lot of modern baseball I dislike. I still like baseball, but I find myself watching modern baseball less and less. I follow it, mind you. I read the box scores. I'm almost reverting back to when I used to look at the paper, except I do it online. I sit and watch a game now. Red Sox game. I'm watching. I'm like, okay. And then they'll do the, Now, the one thing I can say about the Red Sox, they're letting their starters pitch recently. They let them pitch. If you're going, you're going to pitch. That I like. I don't like, can we just get rid of extra innings, start the guy at second base? Crap, it's horrible.
That does go away next year, I believe.
Thank God.
When they go, the game. I'm happy that they're going with a pitch clock next year, actually.
Yes.
And I hope the automated strike zone at some point.
Yeah, I don't understand how umps miss the strike calls as much as they do. I'm not saying it's easy. Beatles Eternally's joined us. He says, good evening. Hello, Beatles.
Long time, buddy.
Anthony knows he is torturing me by not working on Glory Days baseball. It's going to be a good game when it comes out, though.
It worked on. The thing with baseball now, and again, it all comes down. What's up, Arnold?
Hi, Arnold.
It all comes down to price point.
Yeah.
Making seasons now. I mean, the season sets just because there's so many damn players, and ideally I want to find a way around that where I can give cards, and then I don't know. I've got a few thoughts for that, but yeah, I'll be getting back to the baseball at some point for sure.
Yeah, people don't understand. Again, Anthony, if you don't know about Glory Days boxing, go check it out. Go look at the prices. The printed copy is $15. Yeah, I mean for the sets, if I'm thinking right, or the game is. I have to go and look because
the game base game is 28, and that 28, actually,
and then printed sets are 15.
15 for 100 fighters. Yeah.
Yeah, PDFs are $6.
$8 game is $8. PDF fighter set $6. Yeah.
So, Anthony keeps the price point down. And that's what he's always trying to do. So, again, and people want every player. I want that guy who only played in that one. I don't personally, but I mean, they want to do as played. I get it. I'm not a big as played
which is fine. And at some point, I think as a designer, you kind of have to weigh, I mean, like Joe, I think he releases a lot of stuff on PDF for those players. Yeah. But he cards a lot of players.
I've got my payoff pitch game here. I've played a few of it. I've done the dice rolling, but I think I was watching a couple of people play payoff pitch, old videos. And I think Tony Porter, Card and Dice TV, mm-hmm. He said the best way to learn that game, as I watch many videos, and the majority of it comes right off the cards. It's just the little things. I think I have to learn the card flipping first and then adapt it with, I'm going to roll for this and roll for that, because I was getting a little, I did the hybrid and I like it. But I think I'm just going to play straight out card flipping and then bring in dice rolls for certain things, which I was kind of doing, but I messed up a bit because I was getting slightly confused when I should use the card. You basically use the card for everything and not the charts.
Yeah, no, I love the hybrid, and that's to me one of the best features of payoff pitch. I love the dice, and then flip. Hey, what's up, Phil? Flip to get that out result or whatever. So it's once you get the system down, Al, it's really,
because I watched
really
you
cool.
play. I watched you played a hybrid. A couple other people played the hybrid. Then I watched Tony Porter, and he said, I'm just going to do, he goes, this is the way I learned it. And he just, I'm going to play just the cards. But he shuffled. I remember he shuffled every so often. So more of a random. You weren't. And I thought about that. I was like, I'm going to do that a couple more times, and then I'll get the hybrid down, because I like to get that up on my channel. But I don't want to fumble around with it. I want to be at least presentable so I can do justice to a really good baseball game.
Yeah.
But anyway, so be aware. Glory Days, college football coming out soon, card and dice. We look forward to it.
This summer.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to play Army.
And I mentioned to Al offline, I'm kind of getting hit with supply chain issues too. And one thing I'm worried about getting in a reasonable amount of time, dice I can deal with, but it's the game box.
That's another thing you don't think of. Yeah.
So, at worst case scenario, instead of delaying it, I'll release PDF base game. And again, the card format is the same, so you can print them. This is my test cards are on 110 card stock, and it's still pretty.
The 110 card stock's very good. I use it for my printing at home.
The printed game will be on 130 card stock, like
right.
the boxing game is.
But I mean, if someone does print the PDF on 110, I'm just going to use this as a what they call a bootleg for Filsinger, because they don't have the right to Bruno Sammartino. But I did it on 110. 110's good. Not like the 130. But it's still good. Bears Den says, "What about baseball?"
It is.
They want that baseball game, Anthony.
It is designed, and I've tweaked it more to get a better pitcher-batter interaction. I'll actually, like I mentioned earlier, I'll do a 1914 World Series replay later on in the summer.
Cool,
which will be fun.
Is there a thought process? I know you don't, possibly just to put out some World Series team sets for baseball.
That would probably be with the base game and release, just similar to like what this is.
Okay, cool.
Because I think that's kind of the general. You can't when you start putting season sets in the base game, you kind of get locked into where. Do I put the current season, or do I let people pick which season? And, it kind of becomes logistical nightmare.
I mean, I see picking a season with a PC game because it's easier, right?
Yeah.
They've created the season. It's PC. Whatever game you like. Strat. I mean, they don't do it, but like PC Replay Baseball, pick the season. They have a lot of seasons, not all the seasons, but they have a lot. You pick the season you want with the game.
Yeah.
I think Inside Pitch does that on the PC also. I don't know if they do it for the printed version. Maybe they do or they don't. I don't know. And there's some games like that. But I think it'd be very difficult, in my opinion, for card and dice for someone to say, and I want this season, but you don't have it. Well, it's card and dice. There is an expense to it more than a PC. Once a PC game is done and set and the seasons are set, it's just basically a moneymaker, in my opinion, because they don't have to do anything with it. They just
Beatles Eternally is a huge fan of Strat PC.
Oh yeah, he loves
Strat. Whoops.
It's okay.
So for that, Robbie, it's more, I guess, a matter of preference. You can the quick play really is for if you want to get through a game in like 30 minutes and still be able to accrue stats. And another example I use there, say you're going to play the Pac-12 season replay, even though they're not going to exist probably after 2 more years. But so you're playing USC and you want to simulate the other conference games. You can do the quick play of the other conference games. Don't keep stats for them, and you'll get those knocked out in 25 minutes or so. And then you play, yeah, whatever you want to do, for sure.
Clayton Park says, how is everything back in Arizona ready for football season?
It is hot as hell, and yes, practice starts in about 3 weeks for us, and it's going to be even hotter then. Looking forward.
Now, do you guys have coaches? What is was it captains practices? Meaning the coaches coaches aren't supposed to really be there. Like when I played high school football, in Mass they called them captains practices.
No,
you just go straight.
The AIA in Arizona. This will be my brief rant on their incompetence. They basically just got sick of doing their job, so they just want to take money from the schools now. So they have basically opened up year-round activity participation in every single sport, so they don't have to monitor it. So, yeah, we'll start weights in January, and then have spring practice, and we'll do 7-on-7. What's up, Geek? And
Thank you very much. Didn't have to do that. Wow.
That's awesome.
Super
and then we're
chat.
going to camp at the end of this month, and then regular practice starts. So yeah, we can go year round with stuff, basically.
So sorry I interrupted you, Anthony. I just want to say, Smelly Wrestling Geek, great to see you. Unbelievable. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciated. Again, it's always welcome, but not expected. Thank you. So, see, they had a thing called, I don't know if they still do it. I think they do captain's practices. So you could start like 1 week earlier than you were supposed to, or really like 2 weeks. It was the captains of the football team. You basically run a lot of running and a lot of calisthenics. And then we'd run some basic offensive and defense, and the coaches were off like to the side. They weren't technically supposed to be there. No equipment, no pads, just like
the only rules we have are when you can put on pads and helmets and get out equipment, but we could work with the kids directly all year round if we wanted to.
Dwayne Martz asks regarding the college football game, Anthony, that you've created, is there injuries in the football game?
Good question. Per se, no, but yes. And how that will come into play is on the event chart. So you'll have events like in Glory Days Boxing. There will be injuries there that will affect team ratings.
Ooh,
or take
I have
place.
A question to ask you.
So yes,
regarding the boxing.
Yes and no. Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Sorry. I had an event in the Marciano Sullivan fight, and now I put it away. But I can remember it. So I rolled on the event chart, right? Mm-hmm. And it was the fighter ahead with punches landed outlands his opponent 5-1 or something like that. But it was right at the start of the round. And I just said they both land 2 punches or something. Because is that for the round or is that for the person ahead in the punches for the fight? I didn't know how to interpret that.
That is
56 or something, 54, 56. Punch. The person ahead on punches lands 5 punches.
So that's 51 to 56. Fighter ahead on punches landed, pours it on, outscores opponent 5-1 this segment. So you'd have to go incrementally on that. It would be what's happening in the round at that point.
Okay.
And so if it's tied, you could do one of 2 things.
Yeah.
Fight total or the higher rated fighter.
Okay, excellent. I just gave him 2 punches and I was like, I don't know what to do. But yeah, that makes sense. It was funny because if you watch the video, I go, I've never come across this I've come across that, the roll, but I've never come across where it was right at the start of the round. And I've always done it with what's happening in the round. So first, what's happening in the round, if it's equal or just started the round, you can, like you said, 1 of 2 things, punches, whoever's landing so far the most punches during the bout, or I like that. The higher punches for the bout, if it's not in the round. Thank you. I wanted to ask you that in the pre-thing. When you said event chart, it clicked. I was like, I got to ask him that. Thank you. What else is going on here? So they're talking baseball in here. And Beatles Eternally will be having a baseball game. I don't know if he already did it or if he's going to do it a little later, but please check that out. If he's had it already, please go to his channel, check it out, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. So now we've talked about Glory Days boxing, college football, Glory Days college football, a little bit about the baseball game. I got to ask just once. Don't yell at me.
Wrestling?
I love wrestling games.
Honestly, that will once I kind of sunset Glory Days boxing, and that then the wrestling game will get more development. And, and the other thing too, I mean, I hope if the stock market recovers at some point, my 401k doesn't.
I don't want to talk about that.
I know, I don't either. If I hope to retire in 2 years, totally. So at that point, games will be my full-time job.
That stock market better go up because I want that wrestling game.
I do too.
I'm selfish that way. So, but anyway, it's just the thing, we're going to get into a little wrestling talk, a little boxing.
And wrestling fits really good into the flow and play style of Glory Days boxing. It really does.
Similar mechanic.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little boxing, a little wrestling, and a little whatever the chat wants to talk about. We already mentioned James Caan's passing, and we talked about Brian's song and Misery. Rollerball was a great pull. I forgot about that. I just
Godfather, the
program.
Yeah.
Elf, and there's many more. El Dorado was brought up. Bridge Too Far, which a bunch of actors had cameos, if you want, or short parts in A Bridge Too Far, excellent military historical movie, and many others. So, we sadly miss, at least I do, James Caan, great actor. The boxing. What do you, the fight coming up, I believe it's this week. Chisora
against Pulev.
I love I've come 180 on Derek Chisora. I didn't like him early on. I always thought he was tough, right? I just didn't. As he's gotten older, to me, he's actually. If he did this when he was younger, he would have been better off.
He's kind of mellowed. He's doing it more. If you look at him now, he has fun. He's just kind of, he's kind of evolved like Mike Tyson. You know how Mike Tyson is kind of.
I'm afraid he's going to get hurt. I don't want him to get hurt. I like him. Pulev, big puncher. He's older now too. Don't get me wrong, but that could be an entertaining fight. But I don't want to see Chisora get hurt. I thought they hosed him in the first. The guy from New Zealand, I can't remember. Joseph Parker.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Chisora beat Joseph Parker the first time around. He definitely didn't beat him the second time around. He showed incredible heart to go the distance. I think that was a 12-round fight, the second one. I think the first one was 10. Maybe they were both 12. But he beat Parker the first fight. He beat, and I'm going to be honest with you, he beat Usyk in my opinion. In my opinion, he beat Usyk. It was an ugly fight, but he mauled him and brawled him. That's why I was in shock when Usyk beat Anthony Joshua. Now, Usyk said he was sick against Chisora. I'll take his word for it because he fought brilliant against Joshua. But I like
the other thing there, he was just stepping up too.
Yeah,
and he did not adapt well and handle that mauling. It was an ugly.
It was an ugly mauling fight.
Yeah, and
again, people can disagree.
If you stand there as a heavyweight and try and box with Usyk, he will outbox most people.
He's brilliant.
Tyson Fury, probably.
I did not think he could do that to Anthony Joshua. Had that been a 15-round fight, he would have knocked out Joshua. Joshua was like getting pounded at the end.
100%.
Brilliant. How do you can we touch base on the rematch real quick on the Joshua Usyk fight?
Mm-hmm.
I know what if I was training Anthony Joshua, then we'll talk about that. He's got to let his hands go. He's got to use his physicalness. He's got to be first and bang the body, hit him in the chest, the arms. When he hit Usyk with a couple of body shots, Usyk felt them. That's the only time that Usyk felt his punches?
He did. He tried to outbox Usyk, and he's got length on him. He's got range, but he doesn't have the timing. And one thing that I've always said about Joshua, he is the most physically gifted heavyweight in the world today. And
You've always said that.
Not even close. But here and here,
yeah.
And not to say he doesn't have heart, but
No,
he
I know
doesn't
what you
have the IQ. If he had like Tyson Fury's boxing IQ, he'd be
devastating.
Devastating. So
no, I understand what Anthony's saying is he doesn't mean he doesn't have the heart. He has the heart. He stood up to his, he fights and he tries hard. It's
the passion, it's the drive, the desire.
Because when he came in the ring, I turned to Teresa. I said, he's going to kill Usyk. He was so loose. I'm like, this is what I wanted to see, right? He's not. And then he got in the ring and it didn't translate. He immediately went to, like me dancing as a kid when they used to teach us in 3rd grade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And Usyk is 15 steps ahead of him. Usyk broke him down. If you didn't see the fight, again, if it was a 15-round fight, I think Usyk would have stopped him. He had Joshua dead on his feet.
And the other thing with Joshua, when things do not go his way, he has a hard time, and that's kind of what I meant with this.
Yeah, right.
When boxing, like for Fury likes to fight. It's a passion, and he's got an innate aptitude,
love for it, a knowledge.
Joshua, it's a job he's good at, so he does it because he makes it money. So he doesn't always adapt very well when things don't go his way, and he gets you can see it in his face.
Oh, I know exactly when I knew by the 3rd round he's done. I'm like, he's not winning this fight.
And if you're standing across from somebody and they go, and all of a sudden you can see as they're tentative and they lean back, and you're going to jump on them.
Now,
you're a fighter.
When they didn't, I'm trying to remember back the corner, and they didn't. I don't remember them saying, rough them up, get on the, not necessarily use your size for God's sakes. Because again, the 2 times I thought he had where Usyk was like, oh, he hits hard, was when he dug a couple of good body shots. And he just didn't sustain. And again, Usyk fought a brilliant fight. I'm just saying, I think he's got to be more aggressive. He's going to walk into some stuff, I guess, but I think that's what he has to do.
Well, if Fury, by all accounts, he's done. But if he does fight Usyk down the road, you'll see what he'll do with him. Usyk will outspeed him early, so Tyson Fury will lean on him. He'll make him carry his weight, maul him, be dirty, and then once he's got him calmed down a little bit, then he'll start to pick him apart from the outside.
Now, that's a good segue real quick, then we'll get back. Do you think Tyson Fury is done?
I think this might change. Honestly, I don't think he's doing it strictly for money right now, but I think with a good enough offer, he would fight again. I think, quite honestly, he loves the fight game. Maybe it's up to him. He loves the fight game, but he's not so enamored with the politics. He's got that stuff going on with the mobster guy now that's going to be a distraction. So, if that drags on, he could be done. I'd like to see him fight Joshua still. I'd like to see him fight Usyk. After that, I don't know what else is left for him out there. The heavyweight division's kind of stagnant. One of the guys coming up is Joe Joyce.
Yep.
And I watched Joe Joyce fight a gatekeeper basically a week or 2 ago. And he's talented. He's got great stamina for a heavyweight, hits hard, but he is so stiff and he gets hit. And if he fights if he fought Deontay Wilder, he's got a good chin, but he'd take 2 or 3 shots from Wilder to be done. So
now Wilder supposedly is done.
Possible. I don't think he's done. I think he'll come back. But Joyce is like the hot prospect, and he's got a lot of holes in his game, especially against heavy hitters. So, I don't know what's left out there for some of the heavyweights to look forward to, honestly.
Now, what are your thoughts on the bout being fought in the Middle East with Joshua and Usyk? I think it probably would have went in, there's a war in Ukraine, and They probably would have fought there or in Germany or somewhere, and they don't probably that's a little too close. They feel obviously, right? But I've watched a few fights from I can't remember I want to say it's not Qatar.
It's the United Arab Emirates.
Yes, United Arab Emirates. I've seen a few fights there. The atmosphere is not the same, the one. I get it. He didn't want to fight in England again. I get that. I understand that. But it would have been nice. The atmosphere would have been outstanding again. So
you'll probably, I think both fighters will travel well there because they're in a lot closer proximity. English fans, that's not
they travel
deal for them. They'll travel.
Yeah.
And Usyk is based closer. And so, and again, it depends what's going on still there
in the world,
in that area. But they could come too. Hey, what's up, Eric?
Hello, Eric.
But I agree. But the big thing there is they will throw money to get events there, and I think it's just by nature the crowds over there are just more subdued. If it's a local crowd,
you're right. You're right.
It's like Japan. You go.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you watched the Inoue Denare fight, the second one.
No, I didn't see that.
But I got up at like 3:30 in the morning to watch it. But great fight. Inoue is a beast. I think he's the second best pound for pound guy in the world behind Crawford. Right
Japan's
now.
produced a lot of good fighters throughout the years. You know what I just watched over, and I can be honest with you, I've not watched that all the way through. When I watched it originally, Ray Boom Boom Mancini and Dooku Kim, it just stuck in my head. I'm on vacation this week. You can find it on YouTube. I sat down and I watched it. Sadly, Dooku Kim passed away in that fight at the end, But my God, was that a brutal fight? I watched that fight, and I'm sitting there going, that was a brutal fight. Dooku Kim, really tough fighter. He had that awkward charging, like he would lay like back and bing, 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 come forward. And he had hurt Mancini in the it was close fight too. I remember it was close, but watching it over, I was like, wow, that was really close. And then Mancini started. Gil Clancy was saying how he should because Kim wants to lead, let him lead, and you just tag him coming in. And Mancini finally did that in rounds 12, 13, and then he stopped him early in the 14th, knocked him out.
Boom Boom, let's be honest, he won fights on heart, conditioning, and work rate. Not a very skilled fighter.
Fighters like that.
I loved watching him fight.
Like him and Animal Fletcher and others, they have usually a very short lifespan because of the punishment they take, and they're always going to have trouble with a very classic boxer. They might do well, but they're going to have trouble. The fights we used to be able to see on CBS and ABC and NBC, because you could find them on YouTube. And again, if you're not a boxing fan, I'm sorry, but you sit there and you go, oh, on the Facebook group page, this is another cool thing about YouTube. It was someone, I can't remember who in the group, they put up Jack Johnson.
Yeah, it was
Jim Jeffries. Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah. Even though it was only I think you can find longer segments of that, but he put up a short. That fight is 112 years old, and there is beautiful film footage where I think it was only about 3 minutes or 4, whatever it was, 5 minutes or under. But to see how both those guys fought, you could see Jack Johnson, what he did, that's incredible that you can go back in history and watch a fight, whether it's the whole thing or a portion of it. 112 years old. That's incredible.
And in boxing back then, you forget.
Big sport.
It was a bit. I mean, it was that and bicycle racing and baseball, but
and horse racing.
In horse racing, I meant not bicycle racing.
Yeah, no, I know.
The films from fights, they would sell out movie theaters, so that was the main reason they recorded.
That's why they filmed them. Yeah. Christopher Slovak. I've been to sporting events in the Middle East. If it isn't a local team playing, then it's more like a novelty crowd, like the Mike Tyson Buster Douglas fight in Tokyo. Yes, because Christopher Slovak's traveled all throughout the world. He's going to be teaching at Islamabad in Pakistan
Wow.
soon. I call them tourist crowds because the sporting event caps a vacation, and many people are just there because it's a big event. Roger Ward is here.
What's up,
How you
Rod?
doing, my friend? So the what are your thoughts? What are the upcoming fights that you're looking forward to, and some of the fights you have seen that you want to talk about?
Well, mainly like recent fights, Devin Haney and George Kambosos Jr.
Oh, he destroyed him.
Haney right now, I mean, that fight put him on the map. And, we talked about it when Kambosos beat Teofimo Lopez. They could fight 9 more times and Lopez would win all 9. I still think Lopez is a generational talent. He had a very serious, he could have died in that fight.
Yeah, I didn't realize how
Yeah, he had a air pocket in his chest cavity that could have caused his lung to collapse. So he was definitely not at 100%. Another thing, it's stupid of him, and he's finally moved up to 140, but he's way too big to be fighting lightweight anymore. So
I didn't realize. Yeah, it was frightening. He was very bad off, but Kambosos fought a very good fight. I'm not going to.
No, he did. Give him credit. I mean, he won the fight.
I thought he would give Haney. I thought Haney would win. He was magnificent in that fight. I tell you, I'd like to see Haney destroy the King Ryan, because I am sick of his shtick.
Garcia's got to fight. The lightweight division now is to me is the most interesting in boxing.
Yeah, lots of good fighters.
Yeah, you've got Tank Davis.
Yep.
Haney. Kambosos is still going to be around. Lomachenko. And he's not there yet. He's at junior lightweight. But Shakur Stevenson, he's got a long frame. He'll be up.
Yep.
And, so there's a lot of group.
Now, what would you think of a Ryan and a Kambosos fight? That would be interesting to me. I don't know if Ryan would take that fight.
I don't either. He cherry picks a lot, and I know he talks a lot of crap, but he's got talent. But
no, he has talent. He hits hard. I watched his last fight. He went horrible fight, not because of him. The other guy just wanted not to fight.
Yeah, but the problem is he's another one I don't think his
heart's in it.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not as mentally strong, and again, it's that mindset. I don't think he has that mindset. I think against any of the top guys, I think Haney outboxes and makes him look ridiculous. Tank Davis, I think, stops him in 4 or 5 rounds. Lomachenko is a wild card. He should beat him, but Lomachenko's fighting still 2 weight classes above what he's comfortable at. So he's a very small lightweight. The fight I really want to see is Shakur Stevenson move up and fight Devin Haney. That's
a good fight.
Could you imagine Sweet Pea Whitaker fighting a lightweight Roger Mayweather Jr.? When Mayweather sat down on his
Floyd Mayweather
a little bit more, Floyd Mayweather.
I know what you meant.
Though that would be the type of fight that would be a great tactical fight
with entertaining, with punching,
with volume.
Some people, when they think tactical, they think, "Oh, it's not going to be good." That's not necessarily true. Tactical, you still throw punches. It's when you become safety, and you should always be safety first. But boxing's a contact sport, so
and again, look at Floyd Mayweather when he was a lightweight. He fought
different. His fights were better. We're more excited.
Better. When he got up to welterweight, it was more about I'll do just what I need to do to win, basically.
And he did. He beat everybody.
And you can't.
There's only one guy. There's only one guy I thought beat him. Mexican fighter at lightweight who I never remember his name. He beat him. Then in the rematch, Mayweather handled him easy, and they made the fight closer than the original. It was it Castillo? Oh, I can't remember the name. That was a good fight. That's my favorite Mayweather fight. Mayweather definitely Hall of Fame, all-time great. But as he went up in weight, he was very smart. He goes, I'll just hit the guy when I need to hit him, and that's it. I am not engaging. I don't need to knock out people. I just need to make money.
Let's be honest. If you've boxed, it hurts. It's very painful, and it's not just getting hit in the face.
No,
It's the
stomach.
wear and tear your shoulders
Yep.
and arms take, and
People don't realize you get hit here, you get hit here, you get hit in the hip, you get hit all over the place. But yeah,
well, I'm dealing with this now. I displaced a rib about a week and a half ago doing leg press at the gym. And I've had it happen one other time when I boxed, and it was the same rib.
Very painful.
And it hurts.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time to heal. You can't do anything about it except get an injection. So little stuff like that all the time you're dealing with.
Yeah. I like that Haney fight you made with the kids, with the junior lightweight stepping up. I like that. That's a good fight. Sure. I'd like to see that.
Obviously.
Kambosos and Ryan, to me, would be an interesting fight, but I don't think Ryan takes it. I don't think the money's there. I think it's an interesting fight. I think Kambosos would be up for it. Tank Davis.
And Garcia's got a fight coming up. It's not against anyone.
No, he's on. It's the zone. Special. His promoter's babe, not the zone necessarily, but the promoter, because he's a top rank. He's with the zone, but Eddie Hearn, I don't think promotes him. And I personally like Eddie Hearn. I think he puts together usually really good fight cards. And I understand, like on the Tyson Fury, they didn't get the other people won the bid, right? Yeah. But I can see the promoter, the English promoter. I can't remember his name, but he's another good promoter. But it was a good point, but I wasn't happy with it. He says we had to bid too much money, basically. And so the undercard is not going to be what we want it to be because we want to make money and we got to pay all this for the two heavyweights. But I still think the Tyson Fury fight, Dillian White fight was a fun fight. Don't get me wrong. The undercard left a lot to be desired. I think you could have still got better competitive fights. Not necessarily, they don't have to be world beater fight, but just the fights weren't good. They weren't good. And usually the undercards in these recent times have been pretty good. Canelo undercards suck usually. But other than that, Eddie, and again, it wasn't an Eddie Hearn fight. When Eddie Hearn puts a fight together in England, right, or in Europe, in England mostly, those fight cards, even if you don't know the guys, they're usually really good fights. He said something. He put together, there had not been a decent fight card in Italy in years, right? So he took their two best, I think it was super middleweights, right? An undefeated guy and a veteran. And that fight was good. The undercard was god awful. And when they were interviewing him about this heavyweight prospect who sucked, and believe me, I wish Italy had a decent heavyweight. He sucked. That's all the announcers were building him up. He sucked. You know what Eddie Hearn said? I said, oh, what's Eddie going to say? And Teresa goes, I wonder if he's going to go, no, Eddie Hearn's going to be honest. And you know what Eddie Hearn said? He sucked, and he didn't take advantage of an opportunity of being on TV. And Eddie Hearn basically, like, this guy is never fighting on one of my cards again. But he put together a pretty nice, what he thought was a nice card. They didn't do it. But he'll tell you, these people, in so many words, are not going to be on an Eddie Hearn card again. The main event was excellent. The crowd, they had, I think it was like 5,000 people, which was good for Italy now because they're not big into boxing anymore like they were. But it was raucous, and they had two local good super middleweights. But I like Eddie Hearn. I think that he puts together really fun fight cards in England, and I like him. And I can't think of the guy's name who promoted the Tyson Fury fight. I can see him. I just can't think of his name. But I think you can put together better fight cards than what they did. Again, the Fury fight was great. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Well, they're going to look at to get the top guys together now, which is rare. You're going to have to come out of pocket with a lot of money for that first. And you're not going to have that money disperse a lot.
No, and that's what he said. And I'm not disagreeing with him. I just think maybe less fights then. 3 fights. Even 2 fights. Give me 2 fights. The main event and the top.
if you go back, I mean, that's what he used to be. You know, I mean, you're talking about the Jeffries Johnson fight. That was the event. There wasn't
that's
an
it. You came to see
undercard.
that. Sit down and watch the fight.
And they built a stadium in Reno, Nevada
Yes,
in
they did.
1910. People came from all over by train, and that was the only thing that happened. That was the fight.
Yeah, and it's incredible what they did for boxing back in the day. The venues they would quickly build. It was just not, and they built it. And Field of Dreams, you build it, they'll come. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the fight cards, the undercards have been lacking. And I get it. Top Rank, Top Rank, it's either their fighter wins against a schleb, usually, or their fighter really loses, but somehow gets a mysterious decision. But yeah, I like those matchups, Anthony. What else? What did you think of the Canelo? I never pronounced the gentleman. Bibev, the Russian fight.
Yeah. We were watching out at a party with some friends' house, and coming down to the ring, Bivol comes down, and he's no entourage to speak of. Man, he's focused. He's like how Tyson used to come to the ring. Canelo comes out. He's got the mariachi band, the dancers, the
15 minutes of nonsense.
It's a spectacle. And, I'd mentioned it in the fight before. I'm like, he's getting too caught up in just this whole aura about himself. That you can't be focused when you have all that shit going on around you.
Honestly. It drives me nuts because it was very similar with Deontay Wilder. Especially the second fight. Well, my costume. No one told you to put a 40-pound costume on. And I like Deontay Wilder before the hate comes. Come on. Let's not be stupid. Come into the ring. You want to come into music or this or that. But yeah, you don't need all that nonsense.
Fury does very colorful ring entrances too, but you got to take him out. He's a different breed.
He's a different
literally beast. Turn it on.
Yeah, he's incredible. I have to be honest with you. I like boxing. It's my favorite sport. In any era, a healthy Tyson Fury, mind and body, because Fury's talked about his mental issues.
Mental health, yeah.
Mental health. Thank you. I didn't mind mental health. He's talking about sound mind and body. He's tough he's a tough opponent for anybody. And I've watched him fight enough. I'm not saying he can't get knocked down. I've seen him get knocked down, but I've seen him get up. And he uses his size and his boxing ability probably better with the combination of the way he is, right, than anybody I can think of.
Honestly, if you look at him, he's a very sloppy, ugly fighter. He is. He's not crisp, but his timing and his ability to gauge is it's an innate ability that you have or you don't, and it's there with him. So he's never going to win. He's not going to. He was smooth, popping the jab. Larry Holmes with his jab. They're smooth fighters. Fury's not smooth, but he's just got such an incredible intuition and instinct in the ring,
and the intellect.
Yeah,
he knows what to do. If you saw the difference from the first Wilder fight to the second, where my complaint, and I picked Wilder in the first two fights. Mm-hmm. Okay. Third fight, I picked Fury. Because I didn't think after watching the second fight, like he can't, and the third fight's incredible. They're all good fights. But after the first fight, everyone's like, oh, Fury won. I'm like, listen, Fury has only himself to blame. Not even the knockdown, which I thought he was out in the last round. He basically did the Terminator and got up, and I went, holy crap. Yeah. I said, he did, in the first fight, Fury did too much of, he was enthralled with his defense. I went on right after, or that early morning. Instead of doing this 15 times, I'm exaggerating slightly. He didn't do it 15 times, but do it once or twice, boom, 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 and come back. In the second fight, he was a little more aggressive, and he slipped a punch, and then he'd bang or he'd lean on him, and it was a big difference. He's an incredible fighter. I always knew he was good, but you watch, right? And then especially when they brought in Emmanuel Stewart's nephew to train him, made him a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
To set down, and he can punch. He can punch. He's a 275-pound man who has excellent boxing skills. Sloppy. I think that's a good way. He's sloppy sometimes, just by the way he does it. He might not be smooth. His hands are quick. He's strong, and he can punch. And he's big. He knows how to use his size. I think, I don't want to make it a Tyson Fury thing, but Joe Frazier would have a hell of a time. I think Joe Frazier would be tough. It'd be tough for Frazier against Rocky. Again, smaller heavyweights, forget about it. As much as I love those guys, they can't deal with that size. I'm just being honest. In my opinion, Ali would have a tough time. Ali would. People can say Ali would have a tough time with Fury, in my opinion.
Guys that match up best with Fury are the bigger, slick heavyweights. Riddick Bowe at his best would match up well. Larry Holmes would match up well in any era. So
I think Holyfield would take a beating.
Yeah.
He's gonna Foreman would have a horrible time with Fury. Just because I don't think now if Foreman again with any of these guys, Frazier, even Amar, you assume if they hit them, they're going to hurt them. Those guys punched hard no matter what. Mike Tyson punched hard. But Tyson had one thing that you could frustrate, especially. Well, we have to go prime, so I'm not going to go.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. You look at a good comparison, I think, for Tyson and Fury, and I'm not saying that Jess Willard is anywhere near Tyson.
No, I know what you're getting at.
Because he's not.
No, but I know what you're saying.
But a Dempsey Willard fight is a good comparison, where Tyson is quick enough to get in and do damage.
Close the gap and then let his hands go. Yeah, that's a good comparison. Great, because Willard, very big heavyweight in any day. 6'4", I think 255.
Yeah.
245, something. And a strong guy. I tell you what's interesting. You can find an interview with him. And it's from the when they did that heavyweight tournament in the 60s with the computer. What's great about that is they have interviews with most of those boxers were alive still, right? And he goes, and he's honest. He was really honest. He goes, I wasn't the best. He goes, but I could put my left hand out there, right? And he goes, and if you got close, what I wanted to do, if you watch it, I wanted to and hit you with an uppercut. And he was saying, he goes, I was strong. He goes, I was strong. But that's a good comparison. That's very interesting. So again, back, I went off track. So I agree with you. Canelo has totally fallen in love with that. And again, he's great. He's a Hall of Famer. His shtick's annoying too to me now because it just gets overboard.
Well, and the other thing, and I saw stuff before that fight, because I follow big fights coming up, and he was at some festival thing, and you could tell he was drunk.
Yeah.
And then obviously fighters aren't going to live a squeaky clean life.
No one does.
I mean, but that's what killed Ricky Hatton. Ricky Hatton would get up to 200 pounds between fights.
Oh, absolutely.
He'd be at the pub smoking, drinking. So I think Canelo just let a little bit of the outside, his stardom affect him a little bit. And Bivol came in focused and fought a perfect fight. And Bivol is a talented guy.
Very good fighter. Yeah. I thought he'd give Canelo trouble. I didn't think he'd handle him that easy. Canelo had no answer. Canelo usually in his recent fights is basically an aggressive counterpuncher. He kind of waits. He'll hurt you. He kills the body of his opponent. And then he opens up a bit. He never could do that with people.
He starts slow and gets his time. Yeah. But Bivol never let him get comfortable to do that.
Bivol dictated everything. And then in his recent fight, he did a job on Joe Smith, who's a very talented light heavyweight.
No, Beterbiev, I thought he showed a different aspect of his game. He's never been a mover, and he obviously respected. I mean, both those guys can crack.
Yep, Smith can hit.
He can hit. He respected Joe Smith, and I've never seen Beterbiev move like he did in that fight. And you could tell it gave Smith problems because he'd catch himself lunging in and get countered, and the first time he got hurt, then you knew the tone was set. But Beterbiev, if he continues to work on his footwork like he did and show that, I think he's going to be tough. I thought Canelo.
What's his age?
I think he's 36.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So
I thought Canelo would give him trouble. And again, going off the way he usually fights, where he stalks people, he would absolutely annihilate Canelo the way he fought Joe Smith.
Yeah, Canelo. The one thing I watched Mike Tyson talk about on like his little podcast or a quick little YouTube thing, he said if he was training Canelo for the rematch, he said jab to his chest. You have to stop him from doing. He goes, even if you just jab to his chest, that's gonna. It's his custom. Like he went back to jab to his chest, because there's actually a customado video with Muhammad Ali where they're talking to each other, and Muhammad Ali goes, "Well, how are you gonna stop me?" And customado went, bam, quick jab to his chest, and Ali went. Now whether they set that up or not, but it was fun because he goes jab to the chest because it's gonna stop everything.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it perfect? But it was interesting that Tyson said that. I don't think he can beat Beav. I mean, maybe he can. I don't think so now. I think he has a fight with Triple G. I think he beats Triple G. I'd like to see Triple G beat him. I don't.
Well, he and you know what? He's a businessman too. He had the rematch clause with Bivol, and he elected to fight Triple G in the trilogy. It's an easier fight. It is.
Then he can always go back. He wins that, we'll say, right? Now you go back, momentum, builds it up.
And if he really wanted to, he still has a Charlo if they want to meet at junior middleweight. So
I don't think he's going to fight him though. I don't think. I mean, he fights everybody, but I think at this point in time, I think he's going to just.
I think if they had that fight in Texas, it would pack Jerry's world, and it would be a money maker.
That's true. You put it in the Alamo Dome. Yeah, he's going to draw there. You're right. Jim L, hope all is well.
Jim L.
So those are. I'm looking forward to the Triple G. Again, I hope Triple G cracks him and knocks him out. I don't think it's going to happen. I'd be happy about that. Chisor Pulev. He's from Bulgaria. Bulgaria. Romania, one of those two. I think it's Bulgaria. I'm worried about. I said I've come 180, as I said a little earlier. I really like Chisori. He's one of my favorite fighters now. I don't want him to get hurt. I wanted him to retire after the second Parker fight because I'm like, he's going to get hurt. I don't want to see him get hurt.
Yeah, he's probably coming to the end, and then next week is when Garcia fights Fortuna. Lightweight. So
that's a zone fight. So hopefully there's undercard with that.
Then apart from that, you go into August and Teofimo Lopez is back in the ring at junior welterweight, and I'll be interested to see how he bounces back. He's fighting Pedro Campa, which is a fight he should win fairly easily, but again, you never know.
He needs that type of fight because he's been out for a while. So.
He's been out. He's coming off.
Football game's coming good.
I'll tell you about Lopez. Hey Jim, we're talking about that earlier. It is probably it'll be done by the end of the.
Hello, Richard.
Thank you much. It'll be done by the end of this month, and depending on my supply chain with my boxes, will be released shortly after that. At very worst, I'll release PDF first if there's an issue with the boxes. But so it's on the horizon. But the other thing, the other fight. I guess we can talk about Jake Paul since he's fighting a boxer.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about. So I thought he was fighting Fury. You told me no, he's going to fight. Go ahead, give us your opinion.
Tommy Fury has visa issues apparently, and who knows with him? I'm over him, but He's fighting. What's up, John? He's fighting Hasim Rahman Jr. And
the son of a former heavyweight champion, correct?
And his last fight was against Tommy Morrison's kid, Kenzie.
Really?
Yeah, and that was that's Rahman's only loss. But he was out boxing. You know, Kenzie Morrison.
I've never seen Tommy Morrison's son fight. Is he good?
He's not his dad.
He's not his dad. Okay.
He doesn't. He's not built like an Adonis like his dad. He can crack. He can hit.
I got to check it out. I've never. I saw something.
You can probably find it on YouTube.
Oh, I'm going to. I'll look it up. I didn't realize.
Rahman Jr. was outboxing him, you know, fairly comfortably, and then he just got caught. And it's going to be the one problem for him against Jake Paul.
Jake Paul, I said this offline. He can crack. You can make fun of him. He can punch. You can say he fought MMA guys. Yeah, well, he hit them pretty hard, and they did funny things when they fell. He can punch. He can.
Yeah, he can knock out. But I think Rahman. I mentioned that in the pre-show. Here's what's going to be interesting. These two have a relationship. So, and first of all, Rahman Jr. is a much tougher fight than Tommy Fury.
Yes.
He's a better boxer, some stamina issues, and obviously his chin now may be questionable after Morrison's kid stopped him. But he's easily the most talented boxer Paul has fought. Paul said they sparred about 18 months ago and that it was a war. He didn't say much beyond that. So it makes me wonder, because they have that relationship.
You think they might do a little business?
They could. And I've had those questions with his fights regardless. But the other angle there is when they were sparring, maybe Paul hurt him. And so he thinks that in a fight, he's going to be able to catch him and stop him. So either of those two things could come into play. But I just say that because of how easily this fight came about after Fury wasn't going to be able to fight. You know, short notice, they set it up. And again, Rahman is going to be by far the most talented guy he's fought. And that doesn't mean Rahman Jr. is a top heavyweight. He's not.
He's just more. Yeah, no. Well, Jake Paul fought MMA guys.
Yeah, and Ben Askren, I could outstrike Ben Askren at my advanced age. Ben Askren's a wrestler, I literally could outbox him.
I believe you.
Tommy,
just to answer a quick question, John Wise, Sugar Ray Leonard is in the welterweight set. Mike Tyson is in the heavyweight set, and the Glory Days boxing sets are extremely, whether printed or PDF, price friendly to the consumer. Check it out. Link provided up top in the chat or on the page, sidelinestrategies.com. Anthony, how much does a print set cost?
Printed set of 100 is $15.
And the PDF is $8.
$6 for 5.
$6. I keep saying 8. I'm sorry, $6. So it's even cheaper than what I said.
Yeah. So, so it'll be an interesting fight. And if Paul beats him convincingly, and it looks like it's a legit fight, then it's maybe time to give him some respect as a boxer, because he's fought a boxer. And I will give him respect for this. He is personally responsible for probably the fight of the year this year, and that was Amanda Serrano against Katie Taylor.
Because he kind of promoted her.
Yeah, he did, and he's put more focus.
Serrano, that is.
Spotlight on women's boxing.
And that, if you have not seen that fight, Anthony's not lying.
Oh,
male or female, that was an unbelievable fight. Katie, the Irish girl,
Katie
the
Taylor.
young lady, unbelievable. And Serrano's unbelievable. But I thought Katie won.
It was a close fight. I gave her two. But you won't see a fight of that quality by anybody. I mean, it is the fight of the year. But, and the other thing he did is he gave some of his purse in an earlier fight to some of the fighters on. So I respect him for that. You can say he's a clown, all this, and he does do clowny shit. But, he does have a little bit of skill. If he takes it serious, then I guess you'd have to respect him as a fighter.
No, he can crack. I mean, he can crack. He can hit. I was telling you offline, I can't remember the boxing. It was Bradley. I remember. No, No, Bradley did not do that. I'm sorry. It was I apologize. He does the zone fights. But one of the announcers said when they were talking about Fury, who he was supposed to fight, not Tyson, but his half brother or cousin. I can't remember.
Yeah, Tommy.
Half brother. And he had said, if I was Fury, I wouldn't take that Jake Paul fight. This guy's hitting him a ton, and Jake Paul can punch. And he said point blank, Jake Paul will knock him out if he fights like this, because Fury's not going to stand up to that. But so that's interesting. When is that bout coming about?
August 6th.
August 6th.
About a month, yeah.
6 rounds, 8 rounds?
8 rounds.
8 rounds. Okay. Well, he makes money. People watch him. He transcends boxing to the YouTube and entertainment world. Sugar Ray Leonard is in the welterweight set.
Yeah, welterweight set. That's actually a very loaded set.
That is an incredible set.
Ray Robinson, Henry
Tommy Hearns. Then there's freebies. I think you did the Aaron Pryor. What if welterweight? And of course, you have Aaron Pryor, junior welterweight. It's a great game. Glory Days Boxing. I keep talking about it's a great game because it is a great game. So that should be fun. I might have to check that one out. That Jake Paul fight. I usually watch them on YouTube because someone puts them up later before they all get yanked down. I'll watch it.
I've got my Magic box so I can watch it live.
I'm like I said, the fight I'm looking forward to, Canelo and Triple G, just because I hope Triple G somehow tags him and knocks him out. I don't think he will. I always look for, I can't tell you the cards coming up on the zone, but if they're from England, you ask Nurse Teresa, my ass is in front of that TV at 2:00 on Saturday afternoon. I'm like a kid in my glory days. I get to watch boxing from 2 to 5. And don't bother me. Because the fights from the UK, you could put on British title fights, and I'm enthralled because they're usually very equally matched. That's all I ask. And the atmosphere is incredible. So.
Well, the weird thing for the Chisora Pulev card is it's in 2 days, and 4 of the fights, actually 5 of the fights on the undercard have still to be announced opponents. So they don't even have all 5 fights filled. Yeah. John, Tyson is in the set that comes with the game, the base set. Yeah.
John, there's a link if you go to the Glory Days Boxing on Sideline Strategies, and then you go to the resources, and it has a list of all the fighters every weight class. And I think that will help you out.
And actually, too, on the Facebook page, if you have that, there's a master list of all.
Oh, that's right. On Facebook.
1,100 fighters in the game.
So if you go to the Facebook group, you can find that list also. It's called Glory Days Sports now. Games.
Glory Days Games.
Yeah. Games. I keep saying sports. I said that in my last stream because I knew it wasn't Glory Days Boxing anymore. So. Because Anthony's expanding.
Expansion coming. Yeah.
And we're going to have a wrestling game soon. No.
Some point.
So I tell you, I hope they make the Haney fight with the junior lightweight that's possibly stepping up. That would be good. Teofimo Lopez, I'd still like to see him knock the crap out of Ryan. Let Ryan step up to 140. He won't do that though.
I would love to see Tank Davis fight Ryan Garcia.
Oh yeah, anyone knock him out, I'd be ecstatic. And Tank Davis is very good. Spence and Crawford.
I'm gonna do a pre-play of that in the next couple of weeks, but I think that's a very good tactical fight. I think Crawford will win a decision.
Spence sometimes waits a little too much. I think Crawford's slightly smoother. I could be totally wrong. It's boxing. Someone can knock someone out. I just think Crawford, and I like Spence, big Harold Spence fan. Crawford, Bud, right? Bud. Bud's smoother, I think.
I think Spence has been a little more. He's sitting down on his punches a little bit more. He's been a little bit more. very well-rounded fighter. It's going to be a really, really good.
Oh yeah, I think Crawford pulls that one out. I'll be rooting for Spence because I've liked him. I've watched him since he's come up. Crawford's good too. I like him. And this is a good fight. It's a good fight. So that's the big. I mean, again, we talked a little bit about Joshua and Usyk coming up. After that, we don't know where the heavyweight division's going. I think obviously the lighter weights is where it's at. Lightweight, loaded. Welterweights, there's some good ones. Super middleweights, they always seem to find really good super middleweights and middleweights. So boxing still, I think we just have to see what the next big thing in the heavyweight division is going to be. We don't know if Fury's done, but he says he's done. We don't know if Deontay Wilder's done. He supposedly said he's done. They all have more money than they're set. So hopefully
another interesting fight that's coming up. Andy Ruiz is fighting Luis Ortiz in September too.
That should be a fun fight.
Yeah, I agree, and that will be.
You know what? I did not know that. Because Andy Ruiz, fat, pudgy, whatever, he can fight on the inside. He has quick. I would like to see him just train slightly, and I think he'd be better off. I don't mean to be body beautiful. He's not that. He can fight on the inside. He has good boxing skill. He knows how to work on the, get close. When I say inside, I mean in punching range. It not necessarily has to be on the guy's chest, but he can do that.
I think he's got the fastest hands in the heavyweight division.
He's got incredibly quick hands.
Very fast.
He knocked out Anthony Joshua.
And part of that probably is because he's not very heavily muscled.
Right, and they just underestimated him. But Ortiz has fought some good fights. He just hasn't gotten over the top. Oh, that's going to be a fun fight.
Ortiz is going to hit him. And, Ruiz, he does get up. Arreola knocked him down. Obviously, Joshua did too.
Yep.
So, I think both fighters are going to touch the canvas in that one.
That has potential of a fight of the year.
It'll be a war. It'll be a war.
What date is that?
September 4th.
I'm going to have to remember that. I want to watch that.
Yeah, that's on pay-per-view, actually.
Well, I might have to figure out a way to get that one. But
you had a magic box, Al.
Yeah, I watch a lot of fights on the Zone. I enjoy that. So, and again, I'm not lying. I like the UK fights. Eddie Hearn does a great job with it. That's
plus you get to watch them at a reasonable hour over here and still have your night free.
I love it. I'm not joking. 2 to 5. I'm like, yes. All right. You want to talk a little wrestling?
Yeah.
Excellent. So, I've been watching a lot of wrestling with Nurse Teresa and our little buddy Wyatt. And just to prove that, here's my AEW mug. House of Black.
House of Black.
I like House of Black.
Look at this. I've got the John Moxley water bottle.
Awesome. He has a great entrance. I don't care whether you like John Moxley or not. I like John Moxley as a wrestler. He's overcome. Wrestling, men's soap opera. Predetermined victors. Yes, we all understand that. What they do is incredible, some of those guys in the ring. Mike Tyson and Tyson Fury are two completely different fighters, John. I don't know if you're pulling my leg now, but yeah, I think John Moxley.
Both in there.
Yeah, I think John Moxley's entrance is fabulous. They had, I don't know if it was a pay-per-view or a couple events back, and it could have been on, I think it was a pay-per-view, but they had a brawl with the Jericho. That is hilarious. That's another, the Jericho Appreciation Society. It's stupid, but it's funny. And they do it so well. They had it where the music, Wild Thing, went on for like 10 minutes as the brawl was going. It was awesome. I loved it. And Jericho talked about it. He goes, yeah, let's keep the music on because it's never been done. Where the music just...
that was on the last pay-per-view, huh?
Was it? Yeah, it was just fabulous. and the fans were going nuts, and they're singing along, and the guys are brawling and this and that. So I like John Moxley. Some people don't. I do. I like the Black. I always mess it up. Blackpool Combat Club, which I love. William Regal. I've liked William Regal since I've seen him, and he's great to listen to. If you can find some, he does a podcast now, but YouTube, like they only put up like 6 minutes at a time because the podcast is. But he was on the AEW thing with Shivani and the woman. I can never remember the
Aubrey Edwards.
Yes, great interview. It was awesome, and he talks about all kinds of things. So there are things that AEW does that I like, and there are things I don't like. False finishes drive me nuts, Anthony, and they have a lot of them. What are your thoughts on false finishes in AEW?
They overdo them. When you have guys that take a pile driver off the top rope and kick out,
kicks out. So
cut that stuff down.
Come on, script writers, come on. Here's the thing: if you don't want the guy to get pile drived off the top rope, just have him block it or something. Like, but yeah, Teresa goes nuts when she watches wrestling with me because I turn and go, I can't. How many finishing moves? It's like how many licks from a Tootsie Pop to get to the end.
But look, go back and we've talked about this before. When I was in the Army in Augusta, Georgia, I used to go to the Bell Auditorium every Monday with a couple of buddies, and I got to see Tommy Rich beat
Wildfire. Tommy Rich
take the world title off of Harley Race in Augusta.
Yeah.
You know how he beat him? With a Thez press. Okay. Now you wouldn't even get a 1 count if you did that with somebody. The finishing moves have to mean something, and that's a nitpick of mine too. Guys literally get murdered and kick out at 2.5.
I just think, and I get it. The AEW fans, that's what they. But I've also watched a lot more technical. Where they mix in some old school wrestling. The fans like it. They mix in both, I mean, FTR, I love FTR. They mix in old school with some new stuff. But again, even them, who's supposed to be your top-notch tag team, which in my opinion they are, the false finishes are way too much. You hit a finishing move, it's a finishing move. It's done.
And that's why I like, and we're going to disagree on this guy, but that's why I love Hook so much. Hook,
I like Hook.
No, I know. I'm getting to Danhausen later.
Oh, I like Danhausen too. I know you don't. I have 4 different versions of a Danhausen shirt.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Hook has a legit judo background, and
you
can tell when he wrestles. His stuff looks good, and he's so green, but it looks good. And when they put him with Danhausen, and it's like, would you like some chips, Hook?
Yeah,
I was like, no. No.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I'm biased. I like Dan. He makes me laugh. If someone makes me laugh, I like Danhausen. But yes, Hook, they're interesting. You know who sells well? The guy who's the head of that factory. I can't think of his name.
Marshall.
Yeah, he's actually an incredible wrestler. I really watch his. Now, he doesn't win usually. Sometimes on the dark matches, his guys will win with him. But if you watch him wrestle, he sells. Everything he does looks right. To me, at least. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm watching. And last night was probably my least favorite AEW show that I've watched. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. It was just my least favorite. But they had Brody King's son come out, and that's not what I mean about that, because that was pretty funny, where he had pantsed. Again, they do a comedy. They throw comedy into his stuff. They showed when he pants QT Marshall, which I didn't see, but I broke out laughing. So QT Marshall comes out and challenges this like 10-year-old kid. And grant you, He's surrounded by the Dark Order, so they beat up QT Marshall. Hangman Page
I
comes
told
out.
Candy, it looks like this guy's wearing your panties. I don't know
Yeah.
what he had on.
So Wardlow, I love Wardlow's world, but they kind of messed up his push, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've got a nitpick with that too.
So,
He should be a top of the card.
He should be a champion
for sure. But they've almost booked him to look too strong. I mean, how are you going to beat him anytime soon the way he just goes through everybody?
Here's what I do with Wardlow. You have the interim title, which I don't like. I would have just said title and then CM Punk, #1 contender when he comes back. Again, it's all, we can write the script. Here's how I would write the script. Mind you, I'm not a big CM Punk fan. But CM Punk, the title, Moxley wins it. Because Wardlow that comes out and says, I want the champ, and the champ is CM Punk, right? Okay. I can respect that in a way. I kind of would have done it differently, but okay, we'll work with that. Moxley, let him hold the title a bit, right? Then let him drop it to whoever. But yeah, legitimate Jericho, right? Or somebody, pick your bad guy. I like the House of Black a lot, but I think it would be interesting if he dropped it to one of those. And after a certain period, right? Then you can have CM Punk come back. He beats whoever. And then just have Wardlow, and just like he did on TV, and annihilate him in like a minute and a half. Again, you have to understand.
How about this?
Okay.
Okay. Have Wardlow beat Moxley for the title.
I'll take that.
And then when CM Punk comes back, that's going to be the next pay-per-view headline.
I'll take that too.
Build it up. Do you see that guy that is sometimes ringside with the bag over his head?
Yes.
I know you've seen him.
Is that MJF?
So, I don't think so, but when you get to the pay-per-view, have him there, and then it is MJF. He comes out, cheats. CM Punk turns heel. He costs Wardlow the belt.
I like it.
What do you think?
I like that a lot.
Because if you remember, when MJF cut that scathing promo, if you watched the fan cam after they went off the air, CM Punk actually came down
out
to the ring when MJF took
off. I saw that.
So it kind of would make sense if MJF is ever going to be welcomed back to that company.
John Wise has ordered the bundle. I think you'll love the game, John.
Well, thank you, John, and I will email you the score sheet and the Excel score sheet tonight, and your game should go out tomorrow. Awesome. So appreciate your support. Thank you, sir.
John Wise says, my first date was worthy of wearing a bag over her head. Dwayne Martz concurs. You'll enjoy it, John. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a great game. I like that. I'll go with that. I just like Wardlow. You can do things where he will lose. I don't want Moxley just to hold the title all the way through, and then Punk and him go. Doesn't do it.
Yeah, but that's the thing to me with Wardlow right now, because they booked him almost like Goldberg was, right?
Yep.
So you've booked him.
I like him better than Goldberg, though.
Huh?
I like Wardlow better than Goldberg. I mean, Goldberg was over.
I 100% do too. I think Wardlow's got a great look. He's a great athlete, but they booked him so strong that when he does lose next, you almost have to have somebody cheat to beat him. You know what I mean?
Here's what I like about AEW. I don't mind when the quote unquote bad guys win by pin. They might cheat a little, or even sometimes they win outright. I don't mind. I like that. I like to see. I also don't mind when they just put like Jim Cornette, who I love listening to, right, will say, well, why did they just put these two guys together? It made no sense. There's no story. You know why, Jim? Because it was a really fun wrestling match just to watch. That doesn't bother me. I was like, wow, that's a good wrestling match. So,
and I like you. I love Jim Cornette, but yeah, sometimes he's like the old guy screaming at people to get off his grass a little bit too much.
Because sometimes people who bash AEW, they're right. sometimes, right? But sometimes I'm like, I watched that match. What is wrestling about, everybody? And even Jim Cornette will say, does the crowd pop?
Yeah.
Hello? If the crowd pops, you can't say poop. It popped. They got their audience. Now, he'll say they're not building their audience. Is it WWE building their audience? Is baseball building their audience? Football builds an audience. You know why? Gambling. I mean, sports in general and any type of entertainment, there's a diminishing audience because there's so much to do nowadays. Doesn't mean I'm still in shock wrestling exists. Because it's, I mean, even in the day when you knew it was fake, you're like, maybe this one's a little real, or maybe, in the back of your mind. In
some places like World Class Championship Wrestling, they worked a lot stiffer than other promotions.
Yes, that's why I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I'll say this about AEW, they're nuts. I mean, I've watched guys with the chest and guys go off the top, like, and I remember Mankind, Mick Foley, aka Mankind, he got thrown up. But to watch Guerrero, are you sick? Hey, let me do a swan. Here, watch this.
He's going to be lucky if he wrestles past 30. He's
nuts. Darby Allin.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same.
I watched Brody. I said Brody King by accident before. That's Brody Lee's son. I watched Brody King in that, which was a fun battle royal, right? Because we're trying to figure out who's going to win. It was fun. I didn't expect him to win. I actually thought Darby Allin, when it got down, was going to, somehow get him out of the ring, and they run the match with Moxley. Would have been an interesting match, and Moxley could win, obviously. Anthony, when those big guys or anybody, they got the guy laying down in the corner, and they do that somersault into them. I've been watching for months now, trying to figure out how are they pulling up, because they're really hitting the dude who's sitting there going, yeah, throw your 300-pound. Brody King's a big dude. And Darby Allin went like this. And that's the first I saw Brody King sort of try to go to this, like side a bit, but he still catches him. I don't know how they do that. Other things I see them pull up,
Darby Allin really doesn't. He puts everything in hard, which makes sense for him because he's a small guy. Yeah. He almost has to make it more believable, but he's about 175-ish. Yeah. He's an incredible wrestler.
So when he does upset someone now and then, I'm like, he's an incredible wrestler. I can go with that. But he let.
Good night, John, and thanks again, buddy.
Thanks, John. Take care. He let Brody King basically hold him by the neck, and he basically went like this, so you knew, like, I'm not. And Brody King probably counted to like 7 and then dropped him. I'm like, you're out of your mind.
And he's, he doesn't drink, doesn't take any drugs or painkillers. So what he does hurts, and I hope some of those guys can walk when they're 40.
I mean, Kenny Omega, again, people don't like Kenny Omega. I've honestly said I've never seen him wrestle live because by the time he was already hurt, right? I went back and watched some stuff on YouTube. He did goofy stuff. Cornette, I guess he wrestled a doll. I've never seen that, nor do I want to watch that. And I'm not the one. I can't criticize that because I like Danhausen. So I'm not, but whatever. I get that. But he can wrestle, Omega.
He can. Watch some of his Japanese stuff.
That's what I want. I'm sitting there going, wow. And those guys they brought over from New Japan Wrestling, incredible. Incredible. I was like, whoa, I like these guys.
Well, you know who I don't like?
Who?
Suzuki.
Is he the blonde-headish guy, the guy who?
No, he's the old man that has.
Oh, yeah, he's about. I know who you mean with this. Yeah,
he's horrible.
He and people are chanting. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him. They have a guy who's going to wrestle on Friday, I think. And again, I don't remember, but he's incredible. They're just good wrestlers. I liked. We talked of the guy who wrestled Orange Cassidy, which was a hell of a match.
Will
I like him. Very good. Again, way too many false finishes, but other than that, great match. If I could tell Tony Khan something, let's go back to a finishing move is a finishing move.
Yeah.
What would you tell him?
These are my 3 things.
Okay.
What you said, and false finishes should be
outlawed
when 1 or 2, but when you hit a good move, not a pile driver from the top rope.
Done.
Or your finish.
Yes. Because it's devastating.
2, work in some damn DQs, Tony. It works. It helps. It furthers storylines and angles.
There's very few DQs. I don't think I've ever seen a DQ.
So I'll give you work those in. Work in some count outs so you can build a feud and a series of matches. And 3, have your referees enforce the goddamn rules. You know?
I agree. Another thing, 4, some of these programs, like the House of Black, Forever Wrestling, the Mexican guys who I like, Penta, I don't remember their names. I apologize.
Penta El Cerro.
Yeah. Thank God they're not wrestling them anymore. Yeah. Now, to get back to your point, Ruby Soho was wrestling that tall girl with dark hair who was a lizard lady at one time, which was stupid. They got rid of that shtick, thank God. She's a good wrestler.
Statlander.
But anyway, Ruby Soho was, and I'm not big into women's wrestling, but Ruby Soho's opponent hit Ruby Soho with 2, and again, it takes 2 to dance. Remember this, right? It looked real. 2 devastating moves. I'm like, holy cow, the other girl's going to win. And even the crowd booed when she didn't get the 3 count. You can't, I get it. You're trying to build up the other person. You can't do that, Tony. When the crowd boos your result because the other person, Strat-lander or something like that. Tall. She's tall. She's like as tall.
Chris Statlander.
Yes. She's like almost as tall as the TBS champ, the woman who I like. She's got a great
I love me some Jade Cargill.
Yeah. She's good. Perfect heel. Can wrestle. She was a basketball player. We looked this stuff up, me and Teresa. We always do. I go, Teresa, look up what if this, the women usually, do they play sports? Because I'm always interested in that. And she was a decent basketball player in college. She's good.
She has a degree in psychology too.
Yep. And one of my again, I don't like women. I shouldn't say I'm not big into women's wrestling, but Britt Baker plays a great villain, and she is a dentist. Because Teresa, the first time we watched, she goes, she can't say that. I go, it's all a shtick. She goes, Teresa says, no, you don't understand. You can't say DMD unless you really are. So we looked it up. Again, I didn't know. She really is a dentist.
She is, and actually gets very good reviews from people.
Yeah. She's funny, though. They wanted to do, she's with Adam Cole, who you can beat up. We've agreed to that.
Yeah, we have.
They want to do a reality show on them two, right? So I'm watching an interview with her, and she's like, we're really boring. That's what she goes, we don't really do anything. I'm like, I would like, to me, I think it'd be fun. She was like, we don't do anything. We're boring. We do the wrestling thing. I'm a dentist. We're boring. I thought they were going to flip her a little bit when she was in Pittsburgh because that's her hometown. They were cheering her. And then Cargill comes out and makes fun of Pittsburgh. I thought they're going to set up a match. They haven't done that. I'd
love to see that. I really like Thunder Rosa too.
She's good. Now they kind of tagged her with the Australian. What an interesting story, that girl from Australia. She started wrestling at 15. She quit school to go to that she said, I don't know. I watched an interview with her. It was fabulous. She goes, I don't know if it was a good thing, but it worked out well. I quit school at 15 and went to this wrestling school where they let you wrestle at 15. So she's interesting.
I do. I like Hikaru Shida too.
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
Hikaru Shida. She hasn't been on TV for a while though. She's a Japanese girl with a kendo stick.
Oh, she was there for a while. She had was it with the professor? They had that brawl with the professor.
Yeah, Serena Deeb,
who's another good wrestler.
Yeah.
So they do have someone. You know what they don't have, which they should? A women's tag team championship. There's enough. They have enough women's
definitely tag enough, yeah, to do that.
I don't like too many titles. Here's another thing, Tony Khan. You have a lot of 6-man or 3-person group, 4-person groups.
Oh my God.
So here's what you need to do. I don't normally like this. I can't believe I'm saying it. But because you have all these groups, have a tournament, right? Even if you don't want to have a 6-man tag team title, have a 6-man tag team tournament. Because they have these groups and you just, and again, I watch dark matches. They're basically the squash matches, though they sometimes have good ones. But they're like the Saturday afternoon, a squash match with one good match in there. But they have a lot of groups, which is strange to me.
He has way too many, they call them trios matches. Yeah. 4-man or 8-man, 4-way. That Forbidden Door card, like every match was multiple people.
And I don't like that. But again, I watched the whole thing. Most of those again, I don't like those matches. Were entertaining. But I thought to myself after, imagine if you just had these two, like just 2 of them one-on-one. How much more entertaining it would have been.
Here's one more idea for Tony. You bought Ring of Honor, dude. So screw Dynamite. Have your AEW show be Wednesday.
And your Ring of Honor
Friday.
I like it.
And then have some inter-promotional matches. But then you can spread your roster out and not have, because they've got like 130 people under contract.
They've been releasing some wrestlers. Again, they all got paid well, mind you. Lower level, guys who really didn't wrestle on TV. They wrestled the YouTube matches, which they're not bad matches. Sometimes I sit there on a Saturday morning eating my breakfast. I'll watch a few of them. They're not necessarily squash matches. From what I've read, they're like tryouts, basically. What gimmicks might work, what independents they bring in to see can they work. Does this small crowd pop for these people? It's very interesting. Bears Den says Tony Khan will have trios division. He says he has the belts already made. I knew that was again. I don't like it, but you kind of have to do it.
If they have so many stables, you almost have to.
Well, again. I'm a fan of House of Black, and Teresa's sick of me complaining like, you don't let these guys, which they did let one of them wrestle for the title, but you have these 3 really good wrestlers. Come up with a tournament. Come up with something, a belt.
Like they used to do with the Crockett Cup tournament.
Yes. I've been watching some of the Crockett Cup stuff on YouTube, which I never watched because again, I didn't get that type of wrestling around here. It's fun. It's kind of highlights, and then they get to but it's still fun. I like the concept was awesome. I think it was a 2-day event, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah.
I think when I was watching YouTube, I thought they said that. I could be wrong. But that, yes, exactly, a Crockett Cup. I think you could do well with that. They did the European, or not the European, but they call it the Atlantic tournament. Again, that was interesting. I don't like the 4-way match thing. I don't like that. I do like Jay White. He's New Japan, and he's going to be probably a guy that they bring over once in a while. Very good wrestler. Again, too many groups. I don't like them signing every WWE. It seems I'm glad Claudio's there. He was a little rusty, but he's good.
He looks incredibly strong for his size, too.
He is. There's a video, and again, the guy has to let him do it. Don't get me wrong, right? But one of those big, I think, giant guys, he took the guy by the legs. I think it was in Europe, right? He swung the guy 20 times or 15 times, and this is not a small guy. And again, the guy's got to let you see the guy, but still, he's swinging, and the fans are counting. He was so misused or underutilized in WWE. The guy, you should have put the belt on him. He didn't have to hold it long, but put the belt on him. I like Roman Reigns. That being said, I would never let Reigns drop the belt.
I'm a big Cody Rhodes fan too.
I've never really watched Cody Rhodes because he left when I started watching AEW. He left, and I don't really watch. But he got hurt. He got hurt.
He tore his pec.
Yeah, it's too bad. He's a good. I watched a little YouTube on him. No, he's a good. Let's see what Bears Den 007. Serpent is 100 losses. Again, he's cannon fodder.
Yeah.
But the fan, you know what? Again, he's gonna lose, right? But the fans, when he comes out, they pop for him. Again, that's what it's about. Here's the thing with AEW. I think William Regal said it the best. There's a little something for everybody. I'm not agreeing with all of it, mind you. And take me with a grain of salt because I normally don't like goofy shtick. I like Danhausen. It just, for some reason, he makes me laugh. I found him on YouTube, and then I watched some of his independent wrestling. It's goofy. And I'm like, wow, I normally don't like this. And Anthony's sitting there going, shut up. But I do enjoy Danhausen. That being said, FTR, the Young Bucks, I've turned around on them because they wrestle well. I don't like all the high flying stuff, but some of it's incredible. You sit there and you watch, and I'm like, how do they do that? Too many false finishes. They have a great finish, by the way. The double kicky thing, that's awesome. But you don't need to do it 20 times on the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, Hangman Adam Page, did not like when I first started wrestling. They sort of changed him a little bit, made him harder, right? By the end, I was like, I like this guy. And he has a cool finishing move.
No, and it's tough to do, too, because
I still don't know how he does it.
Trying to do it.
Yeah. CM Punk did. Again, just do your thing, CM Punk. I know I say I don't like him. It's just, I'm joking.
And, you know, with Page, very talented wrestler, I just don't think he was ready to carry the belt. He looked awkward sometimes.
Yeah, though towards the end, he was actually improving. I thought the thing when he did with whether they probably wrote it for him, but I thought he did it well. When he says, I'm here to protect AEW from you, you know, like you're a WWE. I mean, that's how I took it. And I enjoyed it. And it was a good match. I thought Punk missed some stuff. I think the announcers are good when people miss stuff. They go, oh, he stumbled. You know, they kind of play into it. But I think Punk, when he comes back, I don't want to see him get hurt. But he's got to be careful because he's older, and I think he misses.
You know how he hurt himself is when he dove into the damn crowd.
Yeah,
I've been doing that.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Like the Hardy, stop. Like his brother, I feel again he has demons. His brother, okay, but please stop.
Speaking of it,
those things.
How about the promo that Cage cut on Matt Hardy? Did you see that? When he was talking about his brother.
Oh, Christy, I thought you said, yeah, I watched. Yeah. That was probably the best thing that night.
He's definitely filling the void for MJF with his.
Well, here's something. If MJF came back, why not team him up as a tag? Again, think outside. If MJF came back, now you just gave me a brilliant idea. Cage is hated, right? MJF is basically hated. Now you put these two guys together, right? Let them win the tag titles. And then you want your DQs, right? Well, you can't lose a title by DQ. They DQ. They hold on to the title for a little bit and then let them lose. That'd be a fun tag. They'd be they would be booed. They'd get their pop. That'd be awesome. Yeah, Cage is. When he did the thing to Jungle Boy, I was like, I saw that coming too. I said he's going to turn because throughout the weeks up to it, he was always needling him, giving
him side eye and stuff. Yeah.
Then we talked about it offline. He says horrible things, and they had to agree upon it. Like, hey, we're going to say this. Is it okay? I mean, like, because maybe I would assume they had to, because I remember reading about Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, where they knew they were going to cut these hard promos, but Bret Hart didn't like when Shawn Michaels said, hey, you're cheating on your wife kind of thing, because he wasn't. And his wife was like, what? And he goes, why did you? And he went back. They got into a fight, and he pulled a chunk of. I mean, you can look it up. It's legit.
Yeah.
Pulled out a chunk of. He got pissed. He goes, "Why did you cut that? Yeah, that wasn't agreed. You know, you went too far." So I have to think, because they're talking about Jungle Boy's father, who was the act. I can't. What's
Jack Perry, or not
right.
Jack? Luke Perry.
Luke Perry. He passed away, unfortunately. If you haven't seen the promo, it's vicious. And then at the end, after before that, he basically does the edge thing with the two, the chairs, right? And then he goes to the mother and sister. They showed. I watched this on YouTube, right? He goes, "You raised a piece," and he did just, and they're giving. But then he breaks into the whole thing where he's battering the family again, and then he goes, "Except the mother."
Yeah.
And again, it's horrible, but it's funny.
I got to head off pretty quick because 4:30 Jim comes early. But
oh my Lord! Well, thank you, Anthony. Last word. I had so much fun. I get to talk wrestling, and Nurse Teresa thanks you, because now I won't talk wrestling to her for about 30 minutes.
Let's do this before we go, though.
Yes.
So, where does MJF stack up all time as against guys with the mic? Is he at Ric Flair's level?
He's really good. Piper was good.
Piper was good.
MJF's very good.
Is he with Piper and
Superstar
Flair?
CM Punk's good. Again, not a big CM Punk fan, but he's good at what he does. I think he's older now, so not
Dusty
the
Rhodes was good.
The Rock.
Dusty Rhodes.
Superstar Billy Graham.
So is MJF with those guys?
Yes.
Easily, yeah.
I think so. They have a thing now. What I read, they have a thing when he comes on, the minute-by-minute ratings go up. Now they say with his pipe bomb promo, it went up and then it went down. Maybe it went too long. Maybe I watched the whole thing. I thought it was awesome. Again, when I sit and watch a show, because I'm invested, I'm going to be honest with you guys. You're going to laugh. The one show I watch every week, the wrestling shows, just because it's fun to. Can I think out the story? Teresa's funny sometimes. She goes, "How did you know that?" I go, "They're robbing this from the old." Like certain things I pick up on real quick, and other things I'm like, "Wow, that's interesting," and I like it. But yeah, I think, and that's a great point. I think MJF is an excellent mic man, right up there with everyone. I'm trying to think of other mic. There's a lot of good mic men, but he's up there. Dusty Rhodes was great. You mentioned him. Superstar Billy Graham, The Rock. I mean, they say Stone Cold Steve Austin was good on the mic. He's okay. He did the same shtick every time. MJF comes up with new stuff. Piper came up with new stuff.
Raven was good on the mic.
Yep, Raven. Been a long time since I said that name. Wow.
Paul Heyman.
Oh, Jim Cornette. I like MJF. I like MJF. Bears Den says, "Thank you guys for the Dice United." That's a fun game. I got to put that up on the channel again. He has new seasons. He's coming out with a hockey game, but
which looks very fun.
Yeah. No, MJF. Who Hogan was okay on the mic. It was more he was over, so Jesse Ventura was good with the mic.
Ventura was good. From back in the day.
I can't say anything about the earlier because it's I would assume Buddy Rogers was probably decent at the type of interview they gave back then, because he was whether I liked him or not, he was a.
You know who could really get heat was Dr. D. David Schultz.
Oh yes. But yes, he was a good villain.
You know, the funny thing about him is AWA would come through Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
And there was this one bar downtown Salt Lake, the Crazy Horse Saloon. And it was a pretty notoriously brutal, rowdy bar. So when he'd cut a promo when they'd be coming to Salt Lake, he'd take the time to actually research this shit, and he'd call out that bar. And I went down there and nobody, and stuff like that. Yeah. And little things like that are a nice touch.
Yeah. Doc, he was a good. I mean, good guys.
Nick Bockwinkel was amazing on the mic.
Nick Bockwinkel. You know, I went back. I watch a lot of Nick Bockwinkel on YouTube now because when I watched him, it was the AWA on ESPN, which was coming to an end, and he was old.
Yeah.
He still could wrestle, but it wasn't. It was a different atmosphere, you know. But Nick Bockwinkel gave her, and Bobby Heenan was his manager. Again, I didn't know that till I started watching on you, and he had some good matches with Hulk Hogan in the AWA, where Hulk Hogan didn't take the.
I saw a couple of those live at the Salt Palace there.
Really? You know, that's a good one. And then we'll leave really soon because you want to go. But the faces, the good guys, usually they were just normal kind of mic guys. They were the good guys. They weren't going to say anything too. I mean, Hulk Hogan was the most. I'm trying to think of.
I think easily the best face promo guy was Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah. Now he started out as a bad guy, and then I guess again, if you like wrestling, very interesting. If you listen to the Grahams in Florida, Eddie was the father. David the son, but they both unfortunately passed away by suicide. I do believe, and but they. Man, to listen to them talk about wrestling, like how they did things, it's incredible. And how they let Dusty become Dusty. I mean, Dusty did it. Mike Graham, that's the son's name. He said
Michael Hayes was always really good on the mic and the Freebirds too.
But they were like bad guys. I mean, they had their fans. I shouldn't say that, but they were never faces.
No.
The Von Erichs were not good on the mic.
David was the best.
He died in. That's a sad story. He died in Japan. Yeah. He had an infection.
Well, and they still think it might have been like a painkiller overdose.
Oh, okay.
See, the story conspiracy is Bruiser Brody found him and actually cleaned up the room before authorities got.
Which did happen in the day. So that could be it.
But just that whole family. I mean, one kid really lived into an old age, you know, and that's David.
Again, you can find it on YouTube.
Not David, Kevin.
Kevin and his two sons wrestle.
They're in Hawaii.
Yeah. One of his sons is 250. I thought they were smaller, but one of his sons is 250. I watched some of them. They move too.
Yeah, they're decent athletes.
Yeah. But anyway, Anthony, check out if you want I think it's Dark Side of the Ring, possibly. It's a documentary on the Von Erichs. Absolutely riveting and sad. It's just, but riveting.
And the rise and fall of World Class 2 is also on YouTube.
That's a good one. Anthony, thank you very much. I'm sorry I kept you for 2.5 hours and just a bit over. I greatly appreciate it. Glory Days Boxing, SidelineStrategies.com. Glory Days College Football coming out very soon. What else do you want to say, Anthony?
No, that's it. And then see what project is next. Probably wrestling. Ow.
Thank you, everybody. We greatly appreciate your time. Stay safe, be smart, treat people that you want to be treated. God bless, love you all, and peace.